Yes, you did.
Oh my goodness.
There you know. Oh my goodness.
That's a beautiful car.
Buy it.
It's a pretty car.
Buy it.
What am I going to do? What am I going to do with the Cobra?
Look, I've given out all the free advice that I can give to a lot of people, right? Like I've told people, I I don't know. Like I've told people in the last couple of weeks, I've told them to get out of the stock market. They said no, can't. Like why not? And they're like that's how we buy real estate. So that's what allows us to be able to buy real estate. They take a margin loan against their stock portfolio, and then they go buy real estate.
Dude, I was talking to somebody yesterday. One of their coworkers. I'm sorry.
You didn't even listen. Like you didn't even hear what I said. You just wanted to talk about who you talked to yesterday. Do you understand when somebody borrows money against a stock portfolio? So I got a stock portfolio that's worth 200,000. I borrow 150,000 against it to go buy real estate. Yeah. What happens when the stock portfolio is no longer worth?
Well, they take all your real estate.
They don't take your real estate.
I mean, all they can do is a margin call. If you're doing
a margin call, what happens then?
Well, all your stock goes away. All of your stuff.
I was like, man, get your money out the stock market. They didn't have any loans against it. They didn't have any loans against their portfolio at the time. But I was like, hey, you have to get your money out of that fucking trap right now.
Oh shit.
Well, I don't have any money in the stock market. So.
Who did?
Those fucking crackheads right here. The police just rolled up on them.
Hold on. Got some police on some crackheads. Oh shit. And that's a state trooper. Well, I mean, if you're just out there without a shirt on, it's not exactly a beautiful day. The vitamin D ain't there. There's a couple of crackheads sitting at the closed down Dairy Queen. Now they got a steady on them. So, Spoon, I've been giving out this advice. I gave my boy Nemi great advice a long time ago, and we all have this perception. Maybe not we all. That's not the way to put it. People like me and Nemi have this perception that we can outwork anything that comes up, right? It's almost like a weird work narcissism that I can't really explain. It's like
we all have that. Me, you, Cody, all of us have that.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like like people can claim to have it, but at the end of the day,
you're from fresh off a motherfucker's ass, and you're getting homesick.
No, it's not that. Like I can't explain it because when we worked in the oil field, there was instant gratification from the job you did, right?
Right.
Like you could see your results right in front of your face.
Right.
You're pulling back a stand of pipe. You could see your veins poking out. You knew you were stronger than it. You knew you were better than it. It's cold. It's raining. You're doing push-ups in between stands. People are like, oh, man, you're fucking crazy. You know what I mean? But it takes a half-assed crazy person to stand out in the weather and fucking work with iron all day. So when you do that every day, you get this, it's like, I don't care if there's one drilling rig running in the United States. I'm a bad enough motherfucker to work on that one drilling rig. Is how you feel, right? But during times like this, it's a humbling experience because there's nobody that can create that job for you. There's nobody that can, in a contraction this big, everybody wants to keep their head down so they don't get noticed, so they don't get their head cut off.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you want to be not going to problems.
But you're not going to your boss and saying,
yeah, I need time off.
You what?
You're not going to your boss and say, hey, can I take my birthday off?
But that wasn't, you don't get to do that in the oil field anyways.
I know. I'm just saying, you're not
like if you have the flu and you work in the oil field,
yeah,
you're just working with the flu or you're fired. So those things, you don't go to your boss and say, hey, I got this guy. I think he's really good for this job. I'd like to bring him in. You know what I mean? because he's getting laid off over here. You keep your head down because you're like, man, I don't know. If I bring any attention to myself, I'll be the next one to get laid off.
You ain't repping nobody in because you don't want to hang your ass out either over somebody.
Well, you would hang your ass out for them in a heartbeat because you know they're going to make it good. The problem is when it's like your boss's relationship with his boss and his boss's relationship with his boss is the only thing that's going to keep you working. There is no merit that goes into who stays working in time like these in the oil field. It's not who's best. It's not who's most efficient. It's not who's most cost effective until it gets way up into the hierarchy, right? There's nobody looking at real data, making real decisions.
Yeah.
Who do I know and who do I like? And who do I want to keep working because I like their family, as I know their wives, I know their kids, and I want to keep that person employed. That's the only thing that matters. The problem with people like me and Nini is during those times, do you think we made friends when we were out there working?
No, not at all.
We were kissing ass to our boss?
Nope.
Nope. We're just out there doing a job, and we're doing it at the highest level. And the bosses we get to work for have that same personality type, right?
Right.
They respect the fuck out of it. They love it. They love that we're efficient. They love that we're fucking, angry and savage. But during times of contraction, what is going fast and being efficient also mean? It can mean a marginal mistake. Something's looked over. You have an incident.
Well,
now you got this huge spotlight on you because you're doing your job to the best of your ability. Somebody missed a step, big mistake, cost $1 million. That's what happens in the oil field. We made $1 million mistake. Now you've got to explain that. And while you had the best person in the position for the job, right? They also just put a spotlight on you that you don't want on you in times like this. So we almost get decommoditized. And
you become a liability.
You don't know. Yeah, you could become a liability, but it ain't even that. Like, it ain't even that,
bro. It's the same. It was the same when I was doing government contracting. It's the same process, right? Like they don't. When they start doing drawdown, it's the same deal. Like the only hope you have is you've been taking care of your boss enough that he needs you in his pipe to keep that going.
But it gets so much like. When oil goes from whatever it was to $28 a barrel,
right?
The viability, the money to even pay the salaries, right? There's 120-day invoice lag time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
3-month net or 4-month net.
Yeah, 4-month net, 3-month net. So I'm a drilling contractor. I'm drawing $17,000 a day for this piece of equipment. The money I'm getting paid this month, I earned 3 months ago.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But the money I earned this month is directly correlated with the money that the oil company has on hand. Okay.
Right.
So there's a lot of independents out running right now. They're margin thin, just running. So, what does their cash reserves looks like? What do they like? Are they even running with cash reserves? Think about this.
There's something. I mean, that's where all the big money's at. These wildcatters, right? They went out on a shoestring.
I'm not even talking. But they got like cash reserves is cash in the bank. Credit lines are credit lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Leverage is leverage. Like so, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna deploy this capital. I'm going to keep X number of dollars on hand. We do this in our own business. I'm going to keep X number of dollars on hand, and I'm going to have a credit line that I'm going to use for cash reserves, right? I'm now running. Boom. Oil goes $30 a barrel. I don't know how much of this oil I've sold out into the future. So let's say I've got a contract and I've sold 10 million barrels on that $60 a barrel contract or that $50 a barrel contract. And I know that contract's going to expire, right? And then I'm going to be in the reality of today's oil prices. So there's this huge lag, but it's coming, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is you have to make a decision right then because if I need this credit line, it's probably not there. They're probably not going to honor that credit line. We just seen it with Boeing. Did you see what Boeing did?
No, I haven't seen the news today, man.
Boeing doesn't trust the banks enough to be there. So all this stuff started happening, they had a credit line, a $13.8 billion credit line, and they drew it down.
They pulled all of it. Just
Pulled the
snagged.
whole fucking thing.
That's badass, dude.
So
That's our move, man. Just drop it in the bank.
yeah, we're hey, look, we'll pay the interest on this. What is it? 5%, 6%? Boom, give it to me. And they took the money and put it in the bank because they didn't trust that the bank would be there 2 months from now.
And they won't be. They won't be.
So when that happened, it was like, you know, all the other guys that are watching are like, yeah, I mean, me and Jacob even had a conversation about it. I think we got a $250,000 credit line. It's like, do we draw it? Do we hit the fucking, because will it be there when we need it? Will it actually be there? Like, can we float the interest on that to get us through this 3 months and keep the liquidity in the bank in case the government comes out and says, hey, nobody has to pay their rent anymore, but don't do anything for the mortgages, right? And in all of our minds, we all start feeling like a victim, right? So we all feel like somebody should owe us something during times like this. It's like, oh, the bank should totally not make me pay my mortgage this month. I'm entitled to it. You know what I mean? Like the government should waive mortgages for everybody, right?
The problem is the bank has to pay.
The bank has to pay. They got employees sitting over there.
So not only that, does the bank has to pay, then the bank has to be subsidized by the government in that time.
Well, that's what's happening. So this whole scenario becomes it then gets really, really murky because we only have, thank God, we only have 13 evictions on our board right now. 13 evictions isn't going to hurt us. The money we get this month, we'll be able to pay all of our bills. But next month, how many people aren't going to be able to pay their rent, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many mortgage payments, how many water bills, how many electric bills, how many bills are we going to have to pay out of cash reserves or on credit lines next month? How many months in a row are we going to have to sustain that?
Right.
Now, I can't really I've always thought about it, right? So cash reserves, it's like, how much cash reserves do you keep on hand? $1,000 a unit, $1,500 a unit? You know, what's the appropriate answer? I've never heard anybody give an answer on it, right? But I have heard a lot of people say, you don't need cash reserves if you got credit lines. And I bought in. I was like, oh man, it makes total sense. You got credit lines.
Till the credit line get pulled.
Yeah. No. Like I mean, you got credit lines. Like we have credit lines. We use. Oh, you know, we paid down some of our credit lines, and then drew down on them again. You know what I mean? This month, just because we know when they go to look at our credit report, and so we pay it down, and then we draw on it, and then we pay it down, and we draw on it, so it doesn't show that leverage on the credit report. It's a simple system. Like it just keeps your credit score up high, whatever. So when you're running a business and you're running a business that utilizes debt to grow and everything else, like right now, I feel really good about where we're at. Why? Because we're not in growth mode. Had this happened to us in 2018, it would have wiped us out. We'd have no assets on hand, still been trying to build systems and processes, still not knowing exactly what an employee's role looks like and what we need done, all that. So we'd have been wiped off the map. Guys, if you're watching this, whoever you are that's watching this, will you go post this in Roughneck Real Estate, the Facebook group, right now? Will you tell them this chop up that we're having? Because I think a lot of people need to see this. So anyways, where we're at right now, at least from our side of things, is, you know, we're not necessarily in a wait and see mode. We're not in whatever. We're trying to, the biggest problem for me, at least, is being a problem solver, is I want to know the problem that I can work on, and I can't find the problem that I can work on because everything is out of your hands. So it's like you call all your lenders, spoken to all my lenders. Every single one of our private money lenders, already spoke to them personally on the phone. Call them. They don't care. We'll see. We'll see what happens, right? Spoon's so nervous he's biting his fingernails. Not even supposed to put your hands in your mouth, son. You're not supposed to touch your face.
I'm trying not to interject here because I don't want to. I want to let you finish your spiel so you can.
But I think the uncertainty, because there's so many different business models, right? You got the guys in short-term rentals. I can peek over the fence because we got Pecos. We have Pecos, and
can you imagine being hung out on 30 or 40 short-term rentals? That'd be terrible.
Well, not even that. Like it's not necessarily that, because there is a side of that might be good. If I'm traveling, I don't want to stay in a hotel now. There's a lot of common areas in hotels. I could spin it, right? I could spin it. I could get the information out in front of my people. Like, hey, don't go stay in hotels. Hotel boogeyman, bad germs, people. Stay in a short-term rental. Right? I could work on that, right? And we see it in Pecos right now. Pecos oil's $30 a barrel. Our Pecos assets. We last week when oil crashed, when the Asian markets opened, it crashed on a Sunday. Most people probably don't even know that. Immediately got on the phone with Jacob. We stress test that property with the debt load that it has on it to see if the bank could demand a trailing 12 and then call our note, right? We want to know that instantly. What does that look like? How does that look if at $30
tell 12 to people? Most people have never heard. A lot of people
is how the asset has performed over the last 12 months. So, I mean, wholeheartedly, even if we had those are 8 mobile homes, for lack of if we're just going to say what it is, those are 8 mobile homes. We rent by the bedroom. Okay. We pay all the bills there. So we pay the electric, water, and cable. Okay. And we have guys that stay there. We have a company, I think a company just stepped in and rented them all. So that would be huge. But either way,
that contract up front, that'd be real nice.
Well, but either way, when oil crashed on the Asian markets, when it went, we stress tested. We're like, okay, if we had to the people that are living there right now, if we just had to say, look, if we were going to make a decision, what would that decision be? And it wouldn't be that you got to pay more rent. It would be, okay, y'all all live in a unit by yourself right now, or a unit with a roommate that you know. You're now going to just pay rent to us, and you got to take over the bills. We're not going to pay the bills because it's on a month-to-month contract. So next month, like we're about to turn the water and electricity off, and you've got to go get it in your name, and you got to sign this lease with us. You know what that would solve any problems we have. But then whenever I really looked at it, I was like, even paying the water, electric, how it's operating right now, it still wouldn't affect it. It wouldn't be making a lot of money, but it would still be at like a 1.4 DSCR. And I mean, that's plenty. You know, that's plenty enough to keep it going. If we just had to turn everything into a $990 a month rental where we paid all the bills, we would still be perfectly fine in that asset. Then you start looking at the rest of your assets. You start looking at the ones because that short-term rental model, it's like first place I think you see it. I think it's the most instant like cancellation. It's the easiest to get off your books, right? Like if this happened 2 months ago, we cancel our Vegas shindig, right? Sure. We had paid Airbnb already, so Airbnb had our money, but they hadn't paid the host. Okay, so we get that $20,000 back. The host loses that money. That's happening. I talked to Chris Young yesterday. They're having several cancellations. He said, but then they book right back up. He's like, it's the weirdest thing right now because of where they're located. They're out in the country. Right. And a bunch of people want to get out of populated areas, so people are canceling, but then they book right back up instantly.
I bet there's city folk just trying to get out there so they got room to breathe.
That's exactly what he said's happening.
It's one thing to be trapped like so if you're reading the reports out of a city in China that we're not going to name because apparently there's a conspiracy that gets us where we can't have viewers.
We started this with the virus name in the title, and YouTube there's 4 of y'all watching now. There was 0 people for like 8 minutes, and that's never happened. Like, we understand getting 4. We understand there's only 4 of y'all that give a fuck, but 0 was like, and then I started watching and it still said 0. I was like, this thing is broke. And
so this city overseas, where there seems to be an epicenter of problems, people have been in their apartments 40 days, 40 fucking days. If you're sitting in the city, like I have a yard, I have my backup plans for what happens if I got to go from here, right? Like you don't have to worry about that because you got a pretty solid scenario. But I can promise you, if I'm in a high rise with my kids right now, I'm like, how do I get an apartment, even something where I got a porch that I can go breathe some fresh air, like anything. And I guarantee, like my in-laws are in Orange County, like LA right now. I can't imagine being there. Huh?
They're traveling?
They live there.
Oh, okay.
My brother-in-law lives there. He works in the film industry.
Okay.
I'm not gonna name the company he works for because he's actually important, and I don't want to knock him down with our reputation. But it was a joke, man. It was just a joke.
No, I get it, but I'm like I look at short-term rentals as the first, like, not bubble to pop. I don't want to say that, but as the first people to see an impact from this. Next, I hate to say it, but I look at wholesalers, and I'm like, what does wholesaling look like in this market? Right now, it might still look fine. You know what I mean? It's like whatever. But if the blood stays in the street long enough, and I've got cash and I've got borrowing ability, I'm going to my wholesalers and saying, hey, you've got to bring that old price down, old son. It looks like there should be better deals out there than that, because that's
market. Tough market, man. Tough market. Why are you trying to make $30,000 on me here?
It ain't even about the assignment. It's about the overall return. It's like, I don't know what this is going to do on the retail market right now.
For sure. I
don't know if I'm looking at it, I'm underwriting it as a rental right now, and it doesn't cash flow. So I got to get that price down. So I'm keeping that powder dry. If I have buying ability, I'm keeping that powder dry for the deals that I feel like are in the future, right? I think that's probably 1.5 years, 2 years away from deals to actually show up because of a prolonged disturbance like this. But I think the perception is, since there's so much noise, that there's going to be better deals out there. So as a buyer, I'm going to wait and see. So wholesalers, I love the fuck out of wholesalers. Love the fuck out of them. But imagine having a $150,000 marketing budget right now and can't get into sellers' living rooms, trying to do it remotely, and then your buyers are also pressing back on you, saying, I want to wait and see. Or hard money lenders who are leveraging bank debt, those notes aren't, those credit lines aren't being honored right now because the bank's in wait and see mode. So the hard money lenders don't have money to lend. So now there's a smaller buyer pool for wholesalers to sell to. I don't know. That's just what I see. That's what I think happened. What do you think?
So, man, like, I'm in a weird spot, right, dude? I'm in a rental. I live in a rental, and I've got rentals. It's a weird thing to be in, right? Of course, I've been in a transitional phase, and the first thing I thought about was 2 weeks ago, because of what we've been dealing with on filling up rentals. Like, I'm learning how to lease properties, right? So I'm like, dude, what happens if everybody starts dragging up? Because that's what's going to happen. It starts at one level, somebody drags up here, and then everybody shifts down. Like they can't pay their rent. Everybody they can't pay their mortgage. People move down an echelon, right? You tighten up your belt, you move down, and you survive or whatever. My point is, as a landlord, what happens if a quarter of your renters just can't pay their bills next month? What do?
You pay the mortgage, start an eviction, same thing.
Right, but what happens if you can't get them filled after that?
Why wouldn't you be able to get them filled?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
What price point are you talking about? What do you pay for rent? $2,000?
Yeah, too much. But
right, so you're paying $2,000 a month. Can you afford that with no deals on the board?
No.
So where are you going?
I've already got a house lined up.
No. That house is going to sell, so you can't move into that.
No, I'm not talking about that. I got one I can move into right now.
Is it a rental?
No, it's an empty rental at my parents' house.
Okay, so you're going to move into an empty rental, running from $2,000 a month rent. Okay,
Right.
if you couldn't run from that $2,000 a month rent into an empty rental, where would you go? What price point are you going for?
Well, whatever you can afford at that point. That's
No,
it.
I'm asking you, what would you go for?
I don't know. Whatever I could
You
get.
go for 500? Would you go for 700? Would you go for 1,000? What like,
I
you know,
don't.
you've got to like right now. Let me break this down for you. So my own personal plan, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I live in a house that if I needed to right now,
Mhm.
we could rent it for, let's call it $800 a month conservatively, maybe more. It's got that shop. It's hard to say.
That thing will rent for 900 easy.
Right. It's hard to say. You got a shop, whatever. I still got my fucking RV.
Right.
So if things got bad for us overall as a company, I would take all the shit out of my house. I would stick it into the shop we have at the RV park, drag my RV back out to the RV park, and there I go. And then that would be the house that I live in would be $900 more a month to help us. Now, maybe in this economy, it's only $600 a month. It doesn't matter. It's $600 a month is more than me living there and with, you know, the electric and water and all that paid and the mortgage being paid. So it's better than nothing, right? But I'm moving into it. I'm moving into an RV. Okay. That fall from grace
Right.
that you're looking at, you still have an underrow.
Grace. I think that's a protection mechanism that most people don't plan out.
It's not a plan. You're not thinking about it because you don't have to. You got a rental to go move into, so you don't have to have a clear vision for what I can't afford. When I lost my job in the oil field and I had to sell my house, I was looking at a $2,200 a month mortgage that I knew was going to bleed me dry. I didn't want to make that decision, but I made that decision. I sold my house. Quit trying to interrupt me. I'm not taking a shot at you. I'm trying to get you to understand something. When I made that decision to sell that house, I looked at what I needed, and I didn't need a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. It was me and Emery. So I needed a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. Do you know what 2-bedroom, 1-bath house was renting for? $750 a month. Courtney Neiman, the real estate agent we live in Corsicana, just so happened to have this rental. When I walked into it, I never will forget the feeling of walking into that rent house. It had this old blue carpet, shitty wallpaper. It smelled funny. You know what I mean? The shower was a little bit funny. It was only a 1-bedroom or 1-bathroom house, and it had a garage conversion on the end that I really couldn't even see how I was going to get all of my furniture that was in my previous living room in there. Get it? And I'm looking at it and I'm like, fuck, this is rock bottom. This you know what I mean? I may as well be moving into a crack house at this point.
But you've lived in worse than that.
Yes, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how bad I lived in the past. I had been living very good. And now I was in this little dinky ass rent house with blue carpet that smelled funny and didn't have a living room big enough for me to put my shit in. I had the old living room on the house was just storage for the other bedrooms and shit of my house that I couldn't even fit all of my stuff into this house, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I could afford it at $750 a month in my mind. Within a year and a couple of months, I'd lost all those entitlements. All of that shit was gone. I was ready to sell everything in that house, guns included, and move into the RV because I knew if I didn't have to worry about making that $750 a month for rent, right, that I could take more risks, that I could run more freely, that I wouldn't be thinking about those things and having that negative impact on my business. So all that got erased, but it took time, okay? For you right now, you don't have to underwrite. You don't have to underwrite life without $2,000 a month rent house, right? You got a place to go, so you're going to go there if it comes to that, okay? The average American does not have that place to go that's free, okay? So since they don't, they're trying to figure out what they can afford. Where are your rentals at that are going vacant? What price point are they?
Dude, 500. I got one at 800, one at 500 right now, and that 500 will be rented up by the end of the week.
So you that's living in a $2,000 a month rental could possibly end up in that $500 or $800 a month rental if you didn't have a free place to go.
Yeah. Hold on just a second.
I think overall what I'm trying to get at, guys, is, Spoon's worried about vacancies, and I think there's going to be more people that need affordable housing, not less. So these things, when it comes to how to underwrite this stuff, I think the guys that own a $2,000 a month rent house are definitely in harm's way, especially if that $2,000 a month rent house already wasn't making money, because if it's marginal money, if that $2,000 a month rent house is only making you $200 a month, you don't have any room to soften your rent to be able to get a tenant in.
And that's my point. Like, so when when it's the people that have high-end rentals that they're gonna see some weird shit happen, right? If you're working off $100 a month cash flow, that can become a problem.
Well, and I don't think we have to soften rents to fill ours.
We don't, because we don't have those kind of rentals.
So you
know as well as I do that people will move where I don't know. Not Coleman's not a good example, but people in Brownswood will move to Comanche if they have to afford rent. They'll just make it drive a little more, because that's how it works.
I don't even think it's that. Like I think overall people are gonna, like, this tumbling of everything. People just get further away from the cities. I think it helps rural America out tremendously, because when you're living on top of somebody and you're like, oh man, I'm about to get coronavirus, I can't get fucking toilet paper. We don't have any of those problems here. We have none of those problems. None. Like, our grocery shelves are full. Our fucking toilet paper's all there. Hand sanitizer on the shelf. Nobody's in panic mode. Nobody's, everybody's being conservative and be like, oh, well, I'm not going to eat out as much. I'm not, you know what I mean? But nobody is like, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world. Not one person. You go in the grocery store, none of that's happening.
For sure. So I count myself really lucky to be in a rental situation right now. My the bigger problem is, what do we see? I was talking to somebody who lives in my neighborhood yesterday. They're like, fuck, dude, I've only got 2 months of money in the bank, because they're their own guy too. Where do you go? I'm like, well, the good news is you own your own house, and it's going to take more than 2 months to get foreclosed. But this ain't going to be it ain't going to be an overnight problem, dude. The kind of problems that we may see or may not are on a scale that is kind of improbable, right? Because nobody can plan for a situation like this.
I can. I've been planning for a situation like this. The part of this that is unsettling is the lending side of it. The lending side of it. You don't know if they don't do evictions, you don't know if they're going to cut mortgage, right? So you don't know if you're going to get that relief, okay? And if they won't loan you money, right? So we already have everything bought, right?
Right.
We already own everything. We're not looking for a wholesale fee. We're not looking, do we flip houses? Yeah. Do we flip $300,000 houses? Never, right? So as the people get foreclosed on or walk away from $300,000 houses, are they coming down to our $130,000 house? Sure. We got an offer the other day. It's a shit offer, but we have always underwrote this situation. The unknowns are on the lending side. It's not necessarily on global pandemic. Can people pay their bills? Are they going to, all of that?
I didn't need it from a business. I just was saying that from a personal. Most people don't plan for that. Most people don't. That's why it becomes a problem.
I see it the exact. Most city folk don't. We've been ready out here. We got 6,000 rounds of ammo, guns, ponds, cattle, oil, reserves. You get what I mean?
Oh, I get it, man. I know I told Nick yesterday I'm dropping some goats off at his house, and I'm going perch fishing this weekend. I'm going to fill up the freezer with perch and catfish. Channel cat still eats pretty good.
Yeah, but I hate that. I hate that everybody's out trying to remind everybody that they weren't ready for this. You get what I mean?
That's insanity. Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, let me rub my finger in the fact that you weren't necessarily prepared to live a minimalist lifestyle. Okay.
Dude,
I know.
So when I went to, so you talk about that downsizing, right? Like when I went to the Middle East, I'd never left the country. I took a job sight unseen because I needed a job. I had an IT degree. There was no jobs in Texas at the time. 2001, Telecor corridor crashed, much like oil field up here in Dallas. The telecom corridor, the computer corridor in Austin exploded. No jobs, and every semester new grads were coming out. Nobody was there. There was just too many people for the jobs. I got a call. They said, "Will you take a job in Iraq?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I'll take a job in Iraq." I was doing electrical work, right? Thank God my license saved my ass through all that time. I get on a bird, fly to Iraq, no fucking experience or nothing. I moved into a bombed out building that had been shot up with 25 mics. I mean, flushing rats out of the drain. And you never plan for that in your life, right? Like you're like, oh fuck, dude, I went and it's not stole. I reappropriated some armor plate I found to put over the drain so the rats had stopped coming into the room. Right? Like out of the fucking drain system.
Mm-hmm.
At first, and you're absolutely right. This is what most people don't understand. I had 2 duffel bags. All my shit was in storage at Fort Hood and Killeen. It's amazing what you don't need. Like, turns out I didn't need any of that shit in that storage facility. Not one fucking thing, right? Like, and by the time it's over, I spent 2 days cleaning that place. I found some cleaning supplies and cleaned it up, got all the grease off the wall. It was an old kitchen that I moved into. It was the only room available. It had tile on the walls and ceiling and shit. And that resets very quick for most people. They just don't think they can do it. It took me about a month to be like, oh, this is my new normal. And then you're in the fucking shit, right? Like,
did you sell the shit that was in the storage unit?
No, I didn't know any better. I put it in a storage unit because we didn't know the length of time that we were going to be.
How long did you pay for that storage unit?
A year.
A straight up year. Then you sold it?
No, then I moved back into a house when I came back.
Oh, okay.
My point.
I'm trying to underwrite what storage looks like right now.
My when I came back, I took a job sight unseen from Iraq for El Paso. They paid for my move. They sent a truck there. They picked it all up and fucking shipped it.
Fun, but I'm trying to underwrite what self storage looks like right now.
I think it's going to be massive because that's what happens. Like I saw when people are displaced, they don't want to get rid of their shit.
Okay.
They don't want to get rid of the shit. They're like, I got to hold on to it. And I can understand that from a different side. It's like, man, I've already paid for that couch. That was $1,000 couch. I understand the mentality. I can pay $50 a month and stick it in this hole, and I won't have to spend $1,000 later.
What about the people who are already storing stuff that are paying $130 a month to store stuff, and now can't afford their rent?
I don't know. I guess there'll be a lot of furniture auctions soon.
I think like you. I think we think about it from that perspective because we don't have a 24/7 last 10-year storage bill, right?
Right.
We don't have that. We're not blessed enough to have that kind of cash flow. So when if there are people out there that have those storage units, I mean, we have a storage unit up in Canyon that we store spare stoves and stuff in, right? Could we store that elsewhere? Could we tell Brandon that we'd rather pay him half of what we're paying a storage locker? Probably. You know what I mean? Is it a pain point enough to where we move it out? Probably not.
No.
But I look at both sides of those coins whenever I try to do this, and I'm like, nobody fucking knows. Right?
And I think most people won't actually address it. Nobody. It's kind of like the lawnmower thing. We talk about this all the time, right? Like I'm already pulling. Look, dude. Here's one thing I've learned in my life is I will start pulling ripcords, right? Just get sucked out the back of the plane because I go into panic mode where a lot of people don't. Like I want to be ahead of the curve. One thing I learned being a fucking contractor for the military was you always want to be the first rat off the ship. When the contracts start looking bad, you better go look for a new contract because when the rats start trying to climb over each other and pull each other down, getting off that ship, you want to be somewhere new. You want to be on the next ship. Right?
Where's the next ship?
I don't know right now, but I promise. I promise. Go ahead.
Good luck in the ocean.
Well, it is what it is.
The ship's floating. You know, when the water's with me, I'll swim away. But I ain't trying to. I mean, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
All I'm saying is when
If you're that serious about it, you need to go kiss a bitch with Corona. Go ahead and get your medicine.
No. All I'm saying is that's the way I look at anything. You got to start planning right then, and have that action plan ready. You start pulling the parachute cord. That's all you can do. You may not have to. You may do.
I personally think time to plan was 4 months ago.
Oh, maybe, but nobody
I
saw.
I think all the planning in the world right now is just it's fucking silly. Commercial real estate. I'm in an office right now. Pay $1,000 a month for this office. Okay. Nobody's in this motherfucker right now.
Yeah.
What happens if for the next however many days? Oh, never mind. Stuart's here. What happens if for the next 3 weeks we perform at the same level, all working from home?
You probably don't need that office.
Probably don't need this office. You know, commercial real estate might really have a bullseye on it right now. There's about to be a lot of small-time players that are going to realize, you know, I had an office because I wanted to feel some type of way,
sure,
but maybe I didn't need it. Now, we train VAs and all this stuff all the time. A lot of companies don't do that. So a lot of them will probably see a loss in productivity and everything else. Maybe we don't, maybe we do. But underwriting commercial right now seems tough and seems like would be it seems like a place that could really have a bullseye on it. So far we've talked about single family short-term rentals, you know, and how to spend that. So you spend that, but don't go to a hotel, harm's way, a lot of common areas, you know, don't want to catch Corona, ride in an elevator. We've talked about single family rentals. So we got single family rentals. The guy paying $2,000 a month or owns a $2,000 a month rental probably is going to feel some pain pretty, you know, within a little bit. We've talked about low budget rentals. And if the government comes out and says nobody has to pay their rent, you know, we're not going to do evictions. They just did it in Miami. They just announced they're not doing evictions during the state of emergency. Several other places will probably not do evictions in a state of emergency, and low budget people will take full advantage. Fuck it. I just got a $600 a month pay raise. No need to pay my landlord. So
how does that work on the backside though? Do they, I mean, the government has to pay them back, or like, if
everybody, we talked about it. Everybody's entitled right now.
No. That's not my point. My point is, at the end of that, when they say you can't do evictions, do they just have okay, now this person owes us $600 a month. They owe us $1,800 or whatever.
And now they're evicted.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know. I just wondered, because the only thing that makes sense if they actually do something like that is what you talked about, which is said, okay, nobody has to make mortgage payments. The landlord
entitled. Everybody wants it. I want free mortgages.
Sure.
I'm entitled. But the banks
But what that only affects is, even if they institute free mortgages, that affects bankers. That don't affect Sherry. That don't affect all these small time lenders and stuff. There's no way.
It might.
Does it?
What they're not going to go out and say you don't have to pay your mortgage. They're going to say you can't get foreclosed on.
I got you.
They're not going to say you don't have to pay your mortgage. They're going to go to the foreclosures. They're going to go to the remedy. So you can't foreclose on somebody that doesn't pay their mortgage for the next 3 months. You can just add it to the end of the deal. Well, it's like, all right, so they say that, and all the people for us that have credit lines, right? They have credit lines, and now they don't have to pay their credit line. What are they hoping though? They're hoping that we still pay our mortgage.
Of course. Because
our margin goes up.
But it's also a lot of people, a lot of lenders, this is the cash flow that feeds their business.
This is exactly what I'm telling you. This is what we've covered. Everybody's entitled, but everybody at the next step up still has bills.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
So look, it's a problem that whenever you think about it, it'll drive you insane because you want to not have to pay your mortgage. Everybody's right now like, man, I hope ain't a motherfucker in the world that's not hoping they don't have to pay their mortgage. As a owner finance person that has 30 owner finance notes, if they make it where people don't have to pay their mortgage. Most of ours are subject to. We will not have to pay the underlying subject to. We went through this in Harvey. Harvey, when it came through, we have 2 notes down there. The government made it where for 90 days, nobody had to pay their mortgage. Nobody. So the lenders on both of those notes reached out and said, you don't have to pay your mortgage for 90 days. We were
So they
like,
just stacked that on the back.
they just stacked it on the back.
Nice.
And so we didn't make mortgage payments on those for 90 days, but guess what? We didn't receive mortgage payments for those 90 days. What happened at the end of the year?
Oh, I guess you're getting hurt on your taxes and shit.
No, there was an escrow shortage. You had to make up the escrow account. The taxes and insurance didn't get deferred, just the mortgage. So we didn't collect 3 months worth of payments. We didn't collect 3 months worth of escrow. So when it got time to pay that insurance and taxes out of that escrow account, somebody had to bring the money, right? So what they do in those situations, at least for us, was they gave us the option, since they were sub 2, to either pay it in full right then. So if it's a $400 shortage, we just pay the $400, or they would take the $400 shortage and divide it up over 12 months and raise your escrow, raise your mortgage by that amount. Get what I'm saying, Spoon?
Yep.
Don't seem like it, but when
it does seem like it.
But that's the part. Yesterday, I was having a conversation with Marshall Hooper, huge in Roughneck Real Estate, the group. If you're not in there, jump in there.
He's a fucking smart guy too.
Very smart guy, former commodities trader. Anyways, he I was asking him, I was like, I don't understand this status that I'm reading right now on the internet. Could you please explain this to me? And so he's breaking it down for me, and we get to talking. And he said, I hope that when or if the government doesn't make people pay mortgages, that landlords pass those savings on to their tenants. And I didn't wholeheartedly disagree. I got to thinking about it, but I was like, how could you even quantify how to do that? Because you don't know who's going to be able to pay and not be able to pay. It's almost like subsidized medicine at that point in time.
Right.
You got certain people that can pay their rent and will pay their rent, and that's fine. So rent's going to be paid. Okay. And then you have people that won't be able to because they, got coronavirus, got laid off, whatever it was. And that's $0. So it's not like I could just lower everybody's rent across the board and hope they could all afford it. I still got to pay water bills, taxes, insurance, in some cases electricity, and make repairs on those, right? I've got to pay an office staff. Like mortgages are, not necessarily the cheapest part of the equation, but there's no real way for me to even visualize how to make that announcement to a group of tenants. Hey, don't worry about it. We're going to lower your rent by this much until we get through this, because a good portion of them, if they're going to default, they're going to default anyways.
Right.
And the rest of them probably won't never default. So, it's kind of like, well, how do you make that adjustment? How do you move those savings on to a tenant? But those parts of the unknown are the unknown. That's the stuff that you can't plan for. Could you plan for making 3 months worth of mortgage payments ahead of time? Dry mortgage payments? You sure can. Do we have enough cash reserves to make 3 months worth of mortgage payments? Painfully, you know what I mean? It's like this is something that you don't want to do, but at that point, what do you do? What do you do after that if it don't come back? Well,
and oh man, and that the problem that we're talking about here, that when you just keep, so this is, I'm a crazy person. I get stuck in my own head. So I just keep thinking up a level. The essential, even if they pay people's rent, they say, all right, we're paying, all mortgages are stopped 6 months, and you don't have to pay taxes for 6 months, and you don't have to do this. All these people's cash flow goes away. But how are they paying for that? They're paying for it by printing fucking money. So then it causes a whole other fucking problem, which maybe they can borrow from China, but if China don't lend it, you have other problems at it.
Are you trying to talk about inflation? What are you trying to talk about?
It is inflation if they put money.
What happens when inflation? What What happens to your $100,000 mortgage when inflation takes over?
Nothing. Your mortgage don't change.
Okay, but
the price of bread goes up.
The cost of bread. So now bread's $100,000.
Right.
So you essentially now have a loaf of bread that you could trade for a house.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll start stockpiling bread.
I'm like when you start talking about inflation, right? The problem of inflation from a real estate investor point of view who owns rentals, think about it. I want you to really think about it. I want you to deep dive into why you are a real estate investor, not a stock investor, because inflation across the board, like all of a sudden this cup costs $87, right? It sucks because it's like, fuck, I got to sell this cup. I don't know who's going to have $87. The government's printing money. So it's whatever, but your mortgage balances stay the same. So as inflation goes up, it doesn't happen immediately. But rents are going to have to go up. They have to go up because now your plumber costs more. Now your AC guy costs more. Now everything else costs more. So you have to raise rents to be able to cover that. But your mortgages stay the same. So essentially, at a point down the road, at some point, you'll be able to refinance and capture equity from the inflationary bullshit that's taking place, or be able to sell that property and pull out profit that isn't worth as much. But inflation is something you're never going to escape. So when the government starts printing money, if I'm selling cattle, if I'm selling corn, if I'm selling, medicine, whatever, I hate it. But if I got real estate that's locked in with debt,
it's like having a fixed indexed annuity.
It's like having a fixed index annuity.
That dude is so smart. It's annoying how smart Mr. Stewart.
Your concern there. I'm not saying don't be concerned, but it's like if
I'm not concerned about it. It doesn't affect me. I'll fight for bread in the fucking aisle, and I'll be on World Star.
You should. Well, I don't even want you to sit around and consider for a second fighting for bread, right?
It's a joke. I'm just saying the ripples that can happen through an economy for something like this is unprecedented.
We already know that, but I'm concerns for real estate investing.
Okay, my bad.
Not it, like I'm trying not to blur the lines between two. So self-storage, unknown, commercial, probably going to take a hit maybe if people are efficient at working from home. Short-term rentals, get to fight off hotels, get to go to battle with the hotel. Let's think about hotels. Probably going to be in a squeeze, right?
Bro.
Which is commercial, but to people who own hotels. Trailer parks, you know what I mean? Low budget rentals. I don't know what the long-term effect will be. The short term will probably result in a lot of turnover, but long-term, you just did an eviction in Stephenville, right?
Yep.
Got a for rent sign in that yard?
Yep.
Got interest?
Yes. My fucking guy that was supposed to clean it didn't get it cleaned out, so I'll probably be the one cleaning it. But I got people ready to go.
Who's the guy that's supposed to clean it?
Nick was going to get it cleaned up.
Oh.
So.
Well, who's going to clean it now?
Me.
Why you?
Just got to go haul a fucking Christmas tree out of it, man.
One Christmas tree's what's keeping us.
Christmas tree and a couch and shit. Huh?
Whatever. Is there interest? Are people?
Yeah, I've got a couple of hits on it. I got 4 hits on it, but we just started really slamming the marketing a couple of days ago.
Is it in all the hostile trade groups?
That one's not, but it'll get on it.
Those VAs. It is on Craigslist.
Yeah. We're slamming shit left and right, dude. I got him banging through everything on Craigslist on 3 different accounts. Today he started getting pushed down by all the competition. They started flagging all his posts. So that's the next hurdle.
For buying houses?
For owner finance houses. He started getting a bunch of ads flagged today.
Because he's offering a house owner finance?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
No,
But
it's the wholesalers, man. They put out ads like that too, and to try to build buyers lists and shit like that.
whatever. I don't know. But been a long time since I played around on Craigslist. So we've gone over all of those. What about owner finance in this headwind? What do you think the owner finance investors? I mean, I personally have I talked to a guy that went through the bust. He's been in real estate since 2001, 2002. He went through the economic crash, and he said as he got houses back, he put 2 signs in the yard: for rent and for sale owner finance.
Every one of ours has that right now.
And whoever came first got that deal. And that's how he survived the downturn when taking back houses. So I think a lot of owner finance buyers or note holders and stuff like that, they're about to get to deal with tenants and toilets, something they were trying to avoid, if they have underlying debt on it.
If you give it about a month, the note buyers are going to come crawling out of the woodwork.
And that was something I thought about yesterday, because Stewart's actually sold how many notes now?
We couldn't hear what he said.
He said if you give it about a month, the note buyers are about to come crawling out of the woodwork.
And what does that mean?
I mean, it means that people are going to be buying real estate notes because they're getting their money out of the stock market. And
Well, that, and then people are also going to sell the notes they have at a discount
to get capital.
To help.
All right. Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Think about it like this.
Go ahead.
You go.
I was just saying it makes sense, because if you got notes, I mean, and you can liquidate that to pay your bills, which people are going to have to pay. It's going to happen. The big discounts.
Yeah, no, I get it. Like, so I'm not even talking about like people trying to pay bills. Right now, I actually thought the exact opposite of Stewart. I thought there would be a premium on real estate notes right now in this environment. I figured that if you had owner finance notes that are performing and have been performing, I was going to talk with Jacob about it. I think we should put every one of our notes up for sale at face value.
Be interesting to see if they win
or what the offers are. Because if people are running from the stock market and not wanting to go into the bond market, and this is the end for them, get it? Like they're at 65 and they need that retirement account to have cash flow to have a dividend to be able to live off of. Maybe they're in the note buying market right now immediately and would like to go buy those notes, and they're only basing it off of the value of the real estate, and would pay full market value for a note. Get what I mean? So you got a note that's for $80,000, but the property's worth $120. So they're kind of like, oh, if I buy this note for $80 and then it defaults, I've got $120,000 asset that I can now rent for $1,200 or $1,000 a month on my $80,000, and that's a lot better dividend than what I would get off the stock market. So I think more note buyers enter the market, but I don't know that. It was a hypothesis I had. But the people who are owner finance investors that have notes, they ran from tenants and toilets. They don't want to be a part of tenants and toilets, but they're about to have to try to figure out property management in the short term, just like you're trying to figure out property management in the short term.
Yeah.
How do you like it so far?
It depends on which type of property management is. Like I learned so much by trying to manage that stuff. I didn't do a great job, but I learned a lot, and I still appreciate the opportunity to manage all your work orders and stuff. It was a very it taught me a lot in a very short time, just how much bullshit people have to deal with as a landlord, and about different asset classes.
One way to look at it.
Why are you laughing?
because it's still paying all the bills.
No, I got that.
Just like, oh man, it's so much bullshit. Like, that's one way. The other way is DJ's doing that job now. And now that we've got all the deferred maintenance out of the way, all the air conditioners replaced, all of that stuff, the work orders, he gets maybe one work order a day, maybe. And it's some bullshit. Like we got a work order last night that was like, I got ants. What do you want me to do about your ants? You know what I mean?
Ant bait. Go buy some.
Those are your ants. You deal with those ants. But they that side of things, I'm talking about your Stephenville Granbury portfolio. You know, you're a hell of a leasing agent, by the way, Spoon. Yeah, I think if you were given a realistic view, you would realize that leasing is the most important part of that. Like the actual work orders are not what people make them out to be.
That's true. It 100% is.
I mean, once you get them leased and get the repairs done, they rock. They rock along. 90% of them pay, and you don't have big issues with it. They kind of, I don't want to say are automated, but they're good enough.
Yeah, and biggest lesson I learned, the one I kick myself in the ass for every day, on being a leasing agent and buying my first pieces of real estate as a serious, not the one I had in daily on where I'm like, I want to be a landlord. Was if you got a tenant in place, no matter how weird or gross they are, you probably want to leave them there until you figure out what you're going to do. Because I went in complaining about the people in one of those properties because they had roaches on the ceiling and shit like that. I don't know what they were happy being there, but they thought I was going to mess with them. So they just piled up in the middle of the night the moment I bought it and took off. But one of those, the literal last property I have to rent right now would be rented if they thought if I wasn't going to mess with them. Right? For what we're renting it for.
Who?
For the only one left in Stephenville, not the Belknap one. I'm sorry, there's two now in Stephenville because the one we took back, they own property. There was people in there at $500 a month. Like when I got it, it was just gross. They had fucking open bags of dog food. And I'm like, y'all need to clean this shit up. And they're like, not in my backyard, motherfucker. And they just pulled out because they didn't want to be told what to do. And if I had just been like, well, you know what, we usually wouldn't put up with this, but we could have for right now, that would have serviced the note the whole time we had it.
Yeah, but don't matter. You've had that vacancy for how long? How long have we owned that?
6 months.
So 6 months times $1,000 a month, $6,000.
Yep.
The underlying note on it's $450 or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's $350, but
whatever. I mean, $350 a month, whatever. So you're sitting there, you got a $350 a month note. You cost yourself some money, but you also cost yourself some money whenever y'all put those some bitches out for rent at $700 each.
Yep, for sure.
What y'all get this looking at it, and you want to shoot for the moon, and sometimes you get the stars, but when there's no interest, there's no fucking interest. And if you can't gauge when that is and lower that price down to a point to where there is interest, then you're going to learn. As I say, you're going to learn today. The other one I rented, Whitley said probably shouldn't rent to this person, and I was like, oh no, she's got a boyfriend, it'll work. And apparently they broke up.
I don't know. Look, dude, all I know is I remember when we did the deal on that, and I went over there to fix some plugs in that house right after I will tell you this, they were very clean, except when they piled out in the middle of the night. But when I went over there, they're like, man, we don't know, because they were telling you they didn't qualify, but every time I went by there, they were taking days off and they were putting their kids in daycare so they could spend time together at the house. And I was like, this doesn't seem like a good sign.
It wasn't that. Like I talked to their previous landlord. The previous landlord said they were clean and paid rent on time. That he was selling that rent house and they had to find some place to go.
They were very nice people.
I mean, the evaluation was the lady could afford rent, had the money and everything else. I didn't want to put a boyfriend and girlfriend on a lease together. Does that make sense?
Yep.
They break up. who gets the house. We've had it happen 100 times where they break up and we now have to evict them both because they're fighting over whose house it is. If only one of them's on the lease, it's obvious whose house it is. So, that one's whatever, but not near as hard to rent at that price point, because I had it rented within like 4 calls. I had 4 tenants, people just weren't calling them back. So, all the stuff that we've covered in this, we're now at low budget rentals and how we think that they're, probably okay. What do you think about high end flips or flips in general? How you feel about it?
They would scare the hell out of me right now.
Why?
Because you don't know what they're going to sell for.
I think I'd be a little bit nervous if that was my business model. But I also don't know. You know what I mean? I think that uncertainty will show its.
It's hard to underwrite a $300,000 house as a rental.
It is, and I don't even know. I mean, I think we've had some mutual friends that were in that space, but I think they got beat out of that space. I think they got their ass kicked right out of that space.
The only person I know that, I don't know. I don't really talk to any of those. The only one that I really talk to anymore kind of does what we does. He just does a little bit a nicer house in a metropolitan area, which probably similar price points, or I mean, it's not similar price points. That's not the right way to put it. He's still in a pretty protected price base.
Maybe. I used to know a motherfucker that would do $500,000 houses. That no longer does $500,000 houses because the one he did got his ass kicked on.
Well, we also know a guy that
know another guy that drives a Lambo that I hadn't seen talk in a long time, and he was in that much higher price point. I'm not talking about Austin Good, so don't go.
I haven't talked to Austin Good in like 2 years.
Well, I don't want people to be like, oh, Corey was on the internet talking shit about Austin Good. No, it's some other person that was into high end rentals that, or not rentals, but flips that I don't know. I don't know that they're working on any projects right now, so that because I haven't seen them talk, so I don't know if they have any exposure right now or not. But I would think that would be a real hard space to look at least in the Texas market. Now, you got to think. I mean, we, for better or worse, have a national reach. Even though you're staring at your phone.
I'm answering Enrique. Enrique just keeps calling my phone over and over.
Take the call and let the people hear you fucking talk to Enrique. We want to, don't hide it, divide it. Like, what does Enrique want to know? Give him his information where we can all learn.
He wants Robin to send him money, and I'm texting them both right now. He, Enrique's English is a little tough someday.
You got the whole rest of the day to get Enrique money. You got this next however long to be on here and be attentive and help the good people out, or stay at your phone the whole time. It's worrisome to me that I'd sit here talking to myself while you stare at your phone. I wouldn't do it to you, old son. But if we're all just going to text message contractors on the live, then that's what we'll do.
Hey, I'm just trying to take care of business, man.
Robin will send that dude money 30 minutes from now, just as soon as she gets it. Matter of fact, Robin might be one of the six. Let's watch Robin send Enrique some money. How much of money does Enrique need?
$750.
Robin, send Enrique $750. Hell, put his PayPal up on the screen and see if our viewers will send him $750. I thought we were talking about big money.
I don't know his PayPal account. This is his daughter's, so I don't know. Robin, if I can provide that.
So high end flips might have the pause knocked in them. Might be a weird place to be right now. What about $150,000 and less flips?
I still wouldn't want to flip them, man. If I was going to flip anything in that price range, I'd be walking in with a coat of paint and walking right back out the front door and putting a sign in the yard. Like I wouldn't be.
We're doing $150,000 flip, so
we are, but we're walking in with a coat of paint. We're not doing nothing else.
Doing two.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were doing more than paint.
Well, we're doing siding. You're right. We're doing siding, paint. But we ain't replacing floors. We ain't replacing.
You wanted floors in both of those.
Yeah.
Why do you love floors so much? Why is that the only thing you ever noticed about a house?
Really ugly floors draw your eye to them a lot of times, especially in an empty house. They don't draw them in a house with furniture.
Fuck, I ain't got a crystal ball. Where's your crystal ball at?
That's what I'm just telling you my opinion. You asked me,
but do you have any instances where people have
I got a crystal ball. It's right there.
Yeah, there you go. Well, now which houses have you done that haven't sold because of floors?
I don't know. We haven't done any together. Like these are the first ones we've actually done.
I'm talking about in your whole real estate career. When have you had a deal fall apart over flooring? It seems. It seems
never, because all the flips I did the floors in them. You asked me in my whole real estate career.
I'm trying to figure out where the negative energy over flooring comes from.
It's not negative energy. You asked me my opinion why I don't like ugly floors. I think they draw your attention to them, it's like
I want it to be based in fact. I want it to be based in experience.
You asked me
not on Jason's. Oh fuck this flooring, like because you've done it so many times. Like you've been like, oh man, I think this house will sell, but we're gonna have to do the floors. Like,
well, but we're only talking about
this over here in this flooring, but on the house in Stephenville that we did the floors in didn't have an air conditioner.
Well, I had an air conditioner. I couldn't even see that. I've been there. That's my fault for not poking my head up in the side of the building.
It's like spoon.
That's a good lesson.
Instantly, these floors fucking suck. Air conditioner missing won't cause us any issues. I think it'll be all right. I think we can make it.
The housing around the top end of the air conditioner was sold by some crackheads. So it needs some sheet metal.
No, I get it because here, look, here's my air conditioner experience. We did our first flip in Granbury, right? It was our first flip. It was the first one we ever completed, I think.
Anybody still
Definitely was the first one completed, huh?
Is anybody still watching this?
Yeah, 6 people. So, anyways, we do our first flip in Granbury, and the outside condenser on the AC had a tree growing through it. And like vines all the way around it. So it was just fucked. And it was so obvious that it was fucked. But it wasn't until the buyer's inspection, like the buyer had sent their inspector out, that they were like, hey, this condenser's fucked. And they sent a picture and it had a tree growing through it and vines all the way around it. And Jacob just looks at me and he's like, how'd you not see that? And I'm like, I didn't even go to that side of the house. Same thing. You know what I mean?
No, I didn't. I'm telling you right now, I didn't open up the panels and look in there. That's a lesson I learned. And guess what? I open up on every mobile home now. That fucking panel and look for the rest of the AC.
In my defense, the AC worked in that house.
This one blew too. It just didn't blow cold air because it was sucking all the hot air right back in.
No, this one worked. It blew cold air and everything. They just wanted that condenser replaced since it had trees going through it. So we replaced the condenser. It's only $900. Wasn't a bad day.
How was it growing through it and still spinning the fan to cool that condenser?
Because it was growing through it where it didn't get hit by the fan. It wasn't like a tree. It was just like, it was going to be a tree eventually. Yeah. But it had those vines around. I have no idea how that sumbitch works. I don't know how air conditioners work, so I couldn't even tell you. The only thing I can tell you is that sumbitch blew cold air, had a nice differential temperature, everything, but the condenser had an ugly picture. So we did that deal, replaced that, got it sold. Not a big deal, but that's always been a sticking point for me on deals. And yours is flooring because, you've sold all your flips with new floors in it, so that must have been the floors that sold them. I think it's personal experience. I think you just walk in and you're like, you know what I mean? I know people that walk in and want to over rehab kitchens and do all that too. I found out the hard way, over rehabbing a kitchen doesn't really help you any. A kitchen costs you dollar for dollar. You put in a $30,000 kitchen, you might get a $30,000 price increase.
So, for a while I worked for Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen when we do these just kitchen bath flips, right? And the first time somebody told me, huh?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the first time somebody told me they sold $100,000 kitchen, I was like, that's insane. That's probably pretty normal now for some of these giant houses, right? It's not normal for me and you, but when people go in with high end granite, they're like, oh, I want this figure. That one's got fossils in it. Look, there's gold flecks. That's what I learned. So what you're trying to get out about floors was people go over rehab these kitchens with their fucking personal flair on it, and then everybody that walks in behind them like, oh, this $30,000 kitchen looks like Donald Trump and Liberace got together, and I don't want this shit in my house. So
yeah, I think the exact same way about floors. I think that whenever you're all, we need to replace these floors, I'm like, how about you put it in the listing? We'll give a $6,000 credit and replace it. They pick out.
I agree with that.
But we've gone over, like when we were talking about Crescent, you were like, we're gonna have to do something about this tile and this and that. And I was like, no. You said there was some flooring that wasn't there.
Yep. There's 2 bedrooms and a stairway that isn't there.
Yes. I was like, what's it going to cost to do that flooring? Like, well, I don't think if we put in this type of flooring, it's going to clash with this type of flooring. And I'm like, ugh.
Man, you would have been in my house, last house I lived in, dude. I hand laid all that tile. And
but I just, when I hear it, I'm like, why is Jason Witherspoon the expert on what floor clashes with what floor? Like, let the buyer be the expert.
You're right. You're right, though. So you're 100% right on all that, because anybody's idea of perfect is somebody else's idea of trash.
So, but that's been my experience. So, flips, wholesales, we've covered that. Well, I'm nervous for some of our wholesaling friends.
I think if you're flipping $40,000 houses and you're dropping $5 or $10 grand in them to get them to where you can sell them for 60, 70, 80, a number that works, that number don't work at 60. I got it. I'm just saying anything under that $100,000 price mark is always going to be insulated, at least where we are right now, because of the fact that there's always going to be a buyer for it. Will you make money? I don't know. That depends on your business model. I'm just saying $100,000 house is going to sell.
Maybe, but even if there's not a buyer, there's a renter.
Right.
So I think, a lot of us, are out over the front of our skis, just going down the hill as fast as we can. But
hey, do you ski?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I was gonna say we need to do a skiing trip. I love to ski.
Fucking coronavirus everywhere. And
I'm not saying right now.
Skiing.
Hey, just think about it.
At this point, I'll never have enough money to go skiing ever again, so I ain't really worried about it.
We need to roughneck the real estate Airbnb in Ruidoso.
I'm not. I don't. Shane yesterday. I called Shane, and I have no idea what bubble he lives in, but he was down fishing on the coast, and he's like, "Yeah, we just need to go back down there and go fishing on the coast." I'm like, Shane, I don't think you realize, you own a lot of real estate that we manage. I'm out managing that real estate. You got an $80,000 remodel going on right now, don't you? And you just wrote us a $30,000 check today. Like, somebody's got to go look at that shit, and I'm that somebody. So I'll have to see you whenever I see you, buddy. I'm not gonna be able to go fishing with you. Plus, I'm self-quarantined. I don't want to be around you. You got a newborn baby. No idea why you're out fishing anyway. Stay your ass at home. But it always makes me giggle a little bit where I'm like, people are like, we can go do this. I'm like, but I don't know if you mean me. But what other real estate do you think might be in harm's way or in whatever? I mean, as a business right now, what we're doing, so we can spell it out for people. What's the timer on this? We're a minute 19 in. What adjustments have we made, Spoon? What adjustments have you made?
As a landlord?
As overall, like what go down every business model. What adjustments have you made in this climate right now?
Well, we are only going to make either virtual offers or schedule to look at properties when we can not have some distance from people. We're having to, we were already,
What does that mean? Have some distance from people. What does that mean?
Like, hey, we want to see your house, but we'll come in an hour after you're there and I'll give you a copy of my license Hell, I'll leave you a $20 bill on the porch. You just need to be out so I can walk through your house and not walk through your cloud of you know. Yeah. So I know I have an N100 mask in my car, but it ain't gonna do dick against Corona. So all we can hope for is spacing out. And Corey and me talked about this morning. 100% right. Is we're all gonna get it. We just can't get it all at the same time, because when shit goes down, like we don't. If Corey, Jason, DJ, Jake are sick, and Stuart is having to run out with a dump trailer to do some stuff, we're all in trouble, because Stuart's gonna be like, you know what? I just want to be fishing, and we're gonna lose him. We're gonna lose him on the bay somewhere for a week or two. And I'm not picking on Stuart. I would do the same thing. I'd be like, this shit can wait. I know I need to replace a light right now in one of my rentals in Stephenville, and I promise you, I'm not going to do it to walk through this family's house with all their kids. I'm waiting on my handyman to be free.
Well, that's different altogether. That's a different precaution that we're taking. So you're not running. You're still running appointments, but not meeting sellers.
Yes,
essentially, that's how we're doing it. Now, what are the sellers' response?
right now,
proposition, but what if the seller's response has been to the appointments we already had on the books?
Oh, they canceled. Pay out.
Flat out. Boom. Can't do it.
And I don't blame them. And here's what. So yesterday they canceled schools in New Mexico. You know, that's 2 of my kids are New Mexicans. My wife's from New Mexico. All of our friends started calling Megan last night. Albuquerque's a huge city. Huge city. Santa Fe is a huge suburb to Albuquerque, kind of in a way. As soon as they canceled school, what happened? Everybody raided Walmart. Everybody went crazy. Fucking, shit like that.
To it. You're adding to it right now.
No, my whole point. My whole point is
people are people. They're gonna do people shit.
Like, I'm just saying, as this stuff becomes more serious in the general public's perspective, we're gonna have to continue to adjust.
Already there. Talk about the adjustment. Don't talk about all that shit. All that shit don't matter.
Well, I mean, that's what we're doing as far as the buy side. We're continuing, though. We're taking this opportunity to pause and continue to train up VAs to really not pause. Pause isn't the right word. We're spending the time that we're getting affected other places by trying to get our VAs up to speed quicker.
Reallocating the time that we've been blessed with not running appointments to better train our VAs, better systemize our processes. If I'm gonna have to sit here at this office alone, right, I'm gonna be pouring out content, because now I don't have a bunch of cackling hens over there in the corner just fucking talking about bullshit all day.
Misogynistic to talk about Jacob that way, but
the thing about you're talking about the model. What about your offers? What are you doing about your offers right now?
Which offers? Like incoming houses? Like people trying to buy our houses?
No, your offers.
Oh, well, I don't know that I should tell people that, because if they really want to know that, they could come to one of your marketing masterminds. They could have.
I don't look.
I'm telling you, my offers right now are like, look, I can buy your house for cash, but I probably got to be close to 50%. Hold on.
I'm not even making a cash offer no more.
Hold on. Just listen to the rest.
Okay.
But I can give you full fair market value if we can put it on terms and working that out.
I'm not even making full price owner finance offers.
You're just going straight terms.
I'm a motherfucking savage, bro.
I love it.
Motherfucking savage. Like, look, here's how the inventory is right now. The inventory that's on the market, that's out there. So you have inventory that's encumbered, meaning it has debt on it. Okay. The only offer, I don't care how much equity there. The only offer is, I'll take over your mortgage payment. That's it. It's my only offer. It's what I have for you right now, lady. You want it or not?
So are you doing that on outbound marketing too?
No.
Or just on defensive, like inbound marketing?
You call me to buy your house right now.
I got you.
The only offer I have for you is taking over your payment if there's a mortgage on it.
So that's a good
point.
Why
is that my offer?
Because they're calling you. You know they got a problem.
No, it ain't that. It's not about them. It's about me. That's my offer, because I have no idea what's about to happen.
Right. Okay. So what about outbound marketing? Are we pausing outbound marketing?
I don't not covering outbound. We're covering offers. Okay. Now, what if I have somebody with an unencumbered property, somebody that doesn't owe anything on it?
Oh, that's a payment. Like,
Maybe I can still make my cash offer on that property, right?
mhm.
But it's going to be a savage cash offer.
Yeah.
Why?
Because you want them to take the payments.
No, I don't care if they take the payments because I have to look out for my private money people.
I got you. So if you buy it at 20 cents on the dollar, you know they can accept it because they don't have the underlying debt.
20, 30, 50, doesn't matter where that savage offer is. That offer is going to be savage based on my terms of what the house is, what it'll rent for, what it'll owner finance for. It's going to be different. Savage is savage. That $25,000 trailer house that's rented for $800 a month that Nick sent a picture of, a savage offer on it would be $1.
I love it.
I would normally make, in today's environment, you should rightfully have to pay me to take this problem off your hands. This motherfucker needs a match. I'll take it for $1.
Yeah,
You got a bigger liability here than you have an asset. Because when this thing goes vacant, there's going to be no money that you can get access to do anything with this place. And I'm going to have to go try to find access to money to be able to do anything with this place. And that person that you're saying is paying $800 a month ain't paying a fucking dime, and both me and you know it. $1, right? But that ain't the same. That ain't the same across the board. It's subjective. The reason why is because I've got to prep my private money people that this is a 1.5-year process now.
So that's what you think? 1.5 years out the back?
I don't think anything. I have no opinion. If I can get a 1.5-year terms on private money and rent it out, that is better for me as an investor. It's better for my lender to have that expectation set up front in case. It could still just be a 6-month process, but I don't know that. So I'm not going to set 6-month expectations. I'm going to set 18-month expectations. So I cover myself and I cover my lender. If my lender doesn't want to loan me money for 18 months, and you're texting again, so I love it.
I'm not texting. I have a pen in my hand.
Oh, if I'm taking 18-month expectations and setting them for my lender, and they accept that, that's good. If they don't want that, that's also good. It doesn't matter. That lets me know where I stand with my lenders, right? So set 18-month expectations. Savage offer. I can still offer cash, okay? But I got that cash in place. Now, if they're not happy with my cash offer, okay, unencumbered, not happy with my cash offer, what can I then do with the noise that's in the space? What's my next deal?
I don't know.
Terms. I can use the noise to get a term offer accepted. Term would never be full price ever in a million years, and it damn sure wouldn't be full price. Hold on. It damn sure wouldn't be full price in a deflationary market where I think that values could go down within the next 2 years. That's the noise. The noise right now is saying values of homes are going to go down within the next 2 years. There might not be any basis to it because of the fundamentals, but it overall doesn't matter. Overall, it does not matter if prices go up or down. If when you make your offer, you're getting interest free, so you're getting 120, 180 equal payments, whatever it is, and you're offering with equity already built in. Because if prices do go down and you did offer interest free, you're underwriting that deal as a rental from Jump Street, so it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Get control of it. You now get control of it. You bought it. You now have control of it. You get to test it as a hotel. You get to list it and see what happens. But if in 30 days nothing's moving, then you gotta make it ready and put a tenant in there.
So you're talking. So you're essentially saying taking over payments sub 2 on stuff or getting on terms. On the sub 2s, how do you think they're going to be affected by this interesting time we're in?
I think sub 2. I think when you're having a conversation with your people that are sub 2, if there are run on banks and they are going for liquidity, I don't know how long it would take them. I don't even know if it would be something that they would do. But if they hire up a SWAT team of auditors to start auditing all of their notes and seeing who owns them and seeing where they can call properties due, right? Start calling due on sales. I guess there's a chance they call due on sales on the sub twos, and
I think the more people in risk of losing a house, the less chance there is of them calling sub twos. If you have a tenth of the country that can't afford their mortgage payments now, and they're having to reset all those, they ain't going after sub twos because they just want to get as many payments as they can. If
I think that I believe that, but also if there's a liquidity issue, where can we get it? If the Fed pumps 1.5 trillion in, and I still have a liquidity issue as a bank, got to call some notes due. Got to get some money. Know how that looks. I don't know how that looks. I don't know how it looks for Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Mr. Cooper, fucking Ditech, all these other companies out there. I don't know what they're looking at. Know what their balance sheet looks like. If they can, make that note due, they want that asset because they know they can rent it, cash flow it in a different manner. I don't know what their business looks like. But I do think that if I'm making that offer to a person that I'm going to take the property over sub to, I'm definitely going to let them know that the bank could call this due almost immediately, right? If that happens. So maybe I underwrite them a little different. Maybe I try to do the old trust bullshit that I see people do. Maybe I take those extra steps knowing I'm going to own that as a rental. But overall, I'm just setting that expectation from Jump Street because I don't want to deal with that shit on the back end. Another thing I'm probably not going to do on a sub 2 at all is owner finance it and wrap it, because now I'm putting a buyer at the end at risk if they do call it due. They call it due, and now you've got a buyer on the it's the buyer that gave you 10 grand down that's at risk, not you, not your seller. Your seller was at risk anyways the day they do it. They understood that risk. Your buyer should have understood that risk, but they don't deserve that. You don't take somebody's capital, hard-earned capital, as a down payment to service your own needs, knowing that you're exposing them to losing their home in this headwind. You could do it ethically 2 or 3 years ago, which we did a bunch of them because you didn't anticipate the notes being called due, but you know that that's a risk now. So don't put owner finance buyers out there like that. Don't do that. That's what I think. What else has changed about your offer?
Well, so for a while we were looking at writing everything at a 2% buy, right, on price.
Okay.
Then as I've had to grow and learn different ways to make this, we've changed to not only, well, you were probably already doing it. You definitely were. You've had to teach me not only to underwrite it at 2%, but also underwrite the exit strategy on the back, which was something I never even thought about. I'm like, because there's an evolution to all this, right? Like you got to learn different chapters. And it's stuff I'm still trying to understand on a constant basis and learn, because I'm not as quick with numbers as some people. But the making sure I have a back end, multiple ways to exit a property, which
let me see. Right here. How many ways can you exit a property?
Oh, a ton, man. You can owner finance it.
We don't have to say a ton. We need actual items. What's your number one exit? What's your number one?
Number one exit is to sell it for a profit.
Okay, so what's that called?
Wholesaling.
Wholesale. Okay. Do you think wholesale's got a big fucking headwind at it right now?
No. I'm sorry. Headwind. Yes, there's definitely something. It's going to be holding it back for sure.
Okay, so in other words, right now in this climate, if you buy something, own it, and now you list it, you have no idea how long it's going to take to sell. None.
Or what it's going to sell for.
Or what it's going to sell for. All right, so you need. Let me see if I can put one of those deals. You need equity. Okay. And then you need expectations, 18-month. expectations.
I mean, it cracks me up that you
I
told
can't
her.
even spell expectation. All right. What's your number 2 exit?
Number 2 exit would be owner finance. Or are you going to say wholesaling with I mean, you might have to put a little work into it to wholesale it. I would say that's right behind that.
So it stays on the market for 30 days. And now you're like, you know what? I think if we fix it, it'll sell. Why would you make that decision?
Because that's what the feedback we've got on 2 properties.
That is the feedback we've got. But would that be a constant?
No, on other properties it may be renting or owner financing, and I would do the same thing. That's literally what we're doing right now: is sitting 2 sides side by side, rent and owner finance. Bam.
Right, but how do you make your number 2 exit? What is your number 2 exit?
So you're saying like, well, I guess it would be either owner finance or burr it out.
Okay. Owner finance / burr. Whatever the fuck. All right.
I think there's like 7 north.
Huh?
I never remember how many R's there are in burr.
I can't remember, but it don't matter. So you got owner finance or burr. Okay. What do you consider a good owner finance right now with this headwind? Like, so I buy it for 30. What are you looking for whenever you get ready to shit can that as a finance sales price?
I'm going to do math on my calculator.
You don't need to do math. It's easy.
Okay.
I'm giving you the sweet and dirty. I give you this every day, but you don't listen, so you don't retain, because you're probably texting when I'm talking to you. Because now I see it that when we're on video, I think you've been text messaging every conversation.
Do you know how many phone conversations I have with you where you just stop talking to me because you're talking to people?
Every single one, because I am texting, and that's exactly what happens. So now that we know the problem,
let's tell everybody the truth about how many phone calls I get.
Hold on. 30K house. Purchase price. We bought it for 30. What are you going to do? What's your exit? What do you got to sell it for? Owner finance. Sweet and dirty. Quick, right off the top of your head. To be fast.
90K.
90. You're tripling. You're hitting triples. Amazing, but not necessary.
Well, like that's what we're doing that one for right now. So
yeah, because it's a really good deal. It's on natural for 90,000, and we're already our cost basis is already 35 on it.
Right.
So it's not 30, but
60K.
Easy math. Times 2 equals 60K. Easy. Burr. What does this? Okay, now your 30K purchase is not 30K rent ready. The reason why owner finance is number 2, and really this is number 3, okay, is why.
Well, one,
I love having you on the spot.
We can sell a note on an owner finance and get our cash back.
Maybe
if we sell it.
But what we do know from the jump on owner finance is what repairs do we have to do on owner finance?
None.
We won't have to expend any of our capital if we can negotiate that, right? So Hotel has to have equity with an 18-month expectation. When we offer it and list it, we are offering owner finance day one. We're offering owner finance day one. Okay. Can you hear?
Yeah, he's really loud.
Stuart, can you take it to the back?
Tell him to turn his hearing aid up.
So Hotel, we're offering owner finance from Jump Street. So we're offering owner finance. All right. The owner finance is assuming we have to do no repairs. Okay. That's where 30/60 works. But on the burr, it gets a little bit different because what do we have to do when we get ready to rent it 90% of the time?
You have to do some work to it.
You have to do some work for it. So you go in and you put this 30,000, you now put a 10K repair budget in. So you're all in 40K. This is hard to follow. Now we're on Burr. What was that property you need to rent for to make that deal work?
On 10K, 40K budget, it's got to rent for at least 800 a month.
Ah, yes. Equals.
You know what drives me nuts about this? I wish I could just put your camera up so I'm not staring off at the side to see what you're doing, because it looks like I'm staring at the wall.
What?
But the way it shows up on my screen, you're off on the left-hand side. I got to figure out how to get you in the middle of the screen so when I'm looking at you, it doesn't look like I'm looking at the wall.
We don't worry about it. You look at the wall, you're looking at the wall. So $800 a month, 40K. Okay. Now we're hoping on this that we still hit, this, take this 80K, multiply it. I think it's multiply it. No, divide it. Now I got to do math, Spoon. Hate it. Whenever I get
math.
Hold on. Let me make sure before I give my people.
Now we got to worry about DSCR.
Yeah. No, DSCR. I ain't worried about DSCR. Numbers work. So if I divide this, divided by 0.8 equals 50K. We need it to appraise for 50K. Okay. So when we have it listed, day one, we have it listed for 60K. Also, owner finance, which is going to help us out on getting this 50K appraisal that we're going to need to keep it as a rental. See how these all kind of work together. But we know now when we're trying to wholesale is we can't go below 50K on the listing, because if we do, it affects the appraisal whenever the appraiser can see that it was listed for 50 and didn't sell, or listed for 40 and didn't sell. You know what I mean? Because we got real aggressive trying to sell it and just turn a small profit. We know that now. So when we go into the burst strategy, you need an 80% appraisal. You know what I mean? So you got to get all your money back out of it, you need a $50,000 appraisal. So your loan amount would be 80% of the appraised value, which is 50. Got a 40,000 loan, you pulled off proper burr, but even if you do end up with some money in it, it's going to pay you a decent enough return, because if you took this further down and looked at this 40K loan, Spoon, look at this 40K loan, pull out your mortgage calculator at 20 years. And what are we getting interest rate? What were we getting?
6.
Huh? We're getting 6.5.
Yeah. Okay. 20 years.
Belly looking good.
That's well, I mean, it's not doesn't have PITI. It's $298 a month.
$298 a month. Now, what's it cost for insurance?
That's $900 a year.
Okay, no, $100 a month.
Oh, I'm sorry, not taxes. Yeah, I got you.
$100 a month. So $100 a month for insurance. Taxes. So you're now at $400. What are your taxes?
2%.
No, $200 a month.
It's $2,400.
$2,400. Well, it don't matter. I mean, $200 a month is you're trying to figure it up on yearly, but $200.
$598 a month.
$598. Okay. Your rent is $800. What's $800?
$200.
Huh?
$200. Oh, you're trying to get your DSCR.
You just wanted to bring up. You wanted to bring up DSCR. We're all over the place now. We're trying to give the people all the value they came for. All 6 of them need to know this. You brought up DSCR as your big worry point.
1.33.
We got a 1.33 DSCR with this whole method, the quick and dirty. Okay, you got a 1.33 DSR, and you got high insurance. You've got high taxes and $0 for maintenance. The $0 for maintenance is the funny part for me, because I haven't had a bank on a single family DSCR figure in any maintenance, any management yet. Do you find that weird?
It's weird, but I've seen some weird shit lately, especially with our Euclid house.
It is weird, but also on that, well, that was just the bank wanting to hold back what they loan. So this whole deal right here. And $800 a month for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath is dirty cheap rent in this environment, which we already covered way earlier on that we think that this would be, not that we're insulated, not that we're bulletproof, not that we don't have to weather a storm, but that it is going to still be in demand in any environment, global shutdown included. So what else were we going to talk about? Flips, rentals, our current. Oh, we're into our current how we're hedging right now, our current processes. So appointments we're doing not necessarily virtually, but we don't want to be in front of sellers. What about our front side marketing? You wanted to talk about it earlier. How are we changing that up?
I'm sorry, man. I yawned right at that last word.
I said, how are we changing up our marketing during this environment?
We've been doing I think we've been doing a lot of proactive marketing lately, up until this last week, and I don't know how we're going to change it. I don't know. I'm being honest. Like, I don't know what the plan is outside of this week, other than getting the VAs that we're training right now to do our outbound calling. Because I promise the nice lady that I just got texted that she's ready to start right now, who sounds like a hot college student, is going to do better on the phones than my big ass Shrek sounding ass.
True, but we've always needed to do that anyways.
Yeah,
we've just never wanted to do the volume to be able to do it. I don't think that wholesaling is off the table, but I think it's gonna meet some adversity. We're still buying. Not gonna not buy. We're just gonna be a lot quicker on this yank. It's gonna be hotel, no interest, rented, boom, done. It's going to go through this like fucking Taco Bell goes through you. Just go.
Well, and I think, day one, an owner finance sign goes in the yard. Here's all the info, fucking getting our loot.
Right.
Day 31, a rental sign goes right beside it in the yard.
Me personally, I'm already going to have the rental sign in the yard.
Well, we're also building out because we switched to LiveCom, we're building out our own database of renters and stuff now too.
That's what I'm saying. The rent sign's just going to be a different phone number. That's it.
That's what we got right now. 2 different phone numbers.
2 different phone numbers. You got the owner finance phone number, you got the rent phone number, and you're building that database from day one, because on day 31, we should already have a renter ready to go in, not start looking for renters. Oh, okay. Hey, look, we will not have this property ready until this date. Do you want it? Yes. Fill out this application. If you're approved, you know what I mean? We will pick you as a tenant, but you might not be able to move in on day 31, and we'll return you your application fee. But we are definitely looking for a renter right now. If that renter's like, fuck you, I want to move in right now, we'll probably go ahead and let them move in. The other thing that we didn't cover on this is, once this thing's rented, it stays on the market. It's just being sold as a rental.
Yeah, and we're also leaving up as owner finance too, because you never want to know when a landlord's going to want to snatch that.
Also leaving the owner finance in place so somebody can buy it and have a rental owner finance.
I have a general purpose line for owner finance that has a list of all of our properties that are available for owner finance that we have put together. I'm still tweaking that system a little bit, trying to get it dialed in. But that whole thing is just so we can continually bang against people that, hey, this one's available for owner finance, and just keep hitting people in that pipe.
So that's changed. Our outbound marketing, other than getting more bandit signs out, I just don't. We're going to tweak that system. Assuming that lending stays viable and the lending offer that we've gotten stays viable, we're going to be turning out basically, I don't want to say turnkey, but we're going to be able to loan to people that we're wholesaling to, and be able to help them with this strategy top to bottom and get a renter in it. If things go, if things aren't selling, if you can't sell it, then help them get a renter in there. So any leads that we produce in between now and then, which I do see a big headwind on getting appointments, getting properties contracted and stuff like that. it's already starting to kind of affect that. So, but we will have that system in place to where we can loan on it for you. Okay. We can help you find a tenant. We're going to have not a turnkey system. I hate the word turnkey. People that do turnkey always end up being fucking criminals. So I hate being even associated.
Yeah. That's the first thing I texted you the other day.
Do what?
About turnkey in it. I'm like, you mean like this guy? Like who's been, being watched by the FBI? Like turnkey's just like a bad word, bro.
It is a bad word, but we are going to be able to help people in our immediate network execute this strategy. And that lender had a 30-year product behind the hard money loan. I hope all that stays viable. I hope all of it stays in place. I hope all of it stays. It wants to know if we can loan in Louisiana. Don't know. Not yet.
Well, money's going to be cheap. I don't think that's going to be the problem. Cheap money, but
I've got some other stuff lined up here. I want to know more about what 1.5 trillion of repos being bought. What does that mean? I think that has to do with margin calls. I don't think that has to do with anything else, but I want to know. I want to know what that is, because the Fed fired its shot. Let's just look at it right now as we're on Facebook. The Fed has fired its shot. They've showed their hand. And when that's done, I understand that it's done. And the stock market replied in kind to it, I guess, because it's in the green today, and still up overall from 2016 levels or whenever they're looking at it. So overall, I think whatever's going on there might help it, but I want to talk to more people. I want to talk to more people that understand banking better than I do. I want to talk to more mortgage brokers than I do. You know what I mean? I want to talk to a lot of people and get more information out. So that's kind of what I'm dedicating my quarantine to, is talking to people in other industries and other lines of work here live on live to help get information to people that might be nervous. So that's what's the next Fed buying assets, stocks, et cetera. I don't know what they're buying. When they buy repos, I don't even know what that means. And I tried to get the CFO of a big company on. He said he's spending time with his daughters this week, so it'll have to be next week. So I don't. I tried to get a hard money lender on that has, that is dealing directly with banks, like has credit lines and different things that they loan out. Has over $100 million in credit lines. So I tried to get him on.
Are they pulling down all their credit lines?
No. Do what?
Are they pulling down all their credit lines?
No. I think I need to call him. I just need to call him. I got his number. I called another one that has a few $1 million in credit lines. Not quite the same scenario as a guy that's got $100 million, but when I called the gentleman that has a few million in credit lines, he said, "No, we haven't heard anything from the banks. We're treating it as business as usual. We're not worrying about it or anything else." There's one smart ass hard money lender that's never loaned us a dime, never always told us no, has always gave us one reason or another why they wouldn't loan us money, has always been bitter beer faced towards other lenders, you know what I mean? That has been picking, and I don't want to say picking, but just overall wants us to look stupid. You know what I mean, Spoon?
Well, I think I know what you're talking about and who.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but do you like? I'm like, man, this person just really wants me to look dumb at everything that I say. They want me to look dumb. They want me to look dumb in this regard or that regard, and that's how I feel whenever I have to, when they're prodding for like more answers. Like what I said was, just off the cuff, boom, boom, and I didn't put any thought into it. Like I didn't think 20 steps down the highway on it. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't really, like my intentions are bad or nefarious or unfounded or it's a pipe dream or whatever. It's like,
well, I know that person pretty well. I think that their personality, that was the way they would have answered anyway. I don't think they were picking at you.
This person was a supporter of ours at the very, very beginning, and that support eroded over time as Facebook became more prevalent in my life.
I don't know about that. I mean,
I do know about it because
I don't know about that. I'm just saying, like,
Well, the attitude, not necessarily the attitude, but the gratitude changed, right?
Well, I don't.
I do know because I had interactions with that person when before everybody was a Facebook celebrity. When we were just out doing deals, we got treated with way more. I don't want to say respect, but way more. I don't know. It was a warmer interaction. Where now it's like this person's. They're treating me like I'm stupid. They're treating me like what we do is a bad strategy overall, and that we are stupid for doing it, right? In investing in small markets and different things. There's all kinds of stuff there where I'm like, well, I'm looking at it now. We got toilet paper, we got hand sanitizer, we got food, we got water. Everybody's still working, and we're not worried about an overall global economy out here in rural America. You know what I mean? The rest of you motherfuckers in the cities and stuff are out of everything and are like parasites about to scatter, you know what I mean, out into the areas where there's still resources.
Yeah, it'd be
right?
looking like a road warrior. They're out there in convoys trying to gather food.
Well, yeah.
Tell you what, they'll only try to gather it at my front door one time.
Well, I'm just like, what, you know what I mean? Like, where's it? What y'all treating us rural investors like we're fucking stupid because nobody will loan here is a silly bet at best, right? Because people live here and people thrive here. People thrive living here. And was it me and you talking that said, I think it was me and you that said your grandmother didn't know any difference because they were already poor in the Great Depression?
I used to ask my grandparents all the time about the Depression and stuff like that. My grandma was hard as woodpecker lives. She put herself through college at Texas Wesleyan University, working split shifts at a diner. She grew up in a dirt floor cabin that she took us to in Arkansas. You couldn't even turn around on the side of that mountain in a truck. She would literally tell me about do you know what a Fuller brush salesman is? So he still brushes door to door. They didn't even have 10 cents to buy a toothbrush, and she cried so much when she was a kid that the guy felt bad and gave it to her because she wanted a toothbrush, and she had it all the way through college. That's the only fucking toothbrush she ever had, right? So
what about the Depression? So
that's what I'm getting at. Different sense of entitlement altogether, right? Like they didn't have it because they had jack shit. If you talk to those old people, like I talked to my family in Caddo, Oklahoma, they're like, we don't really feel that shit up here. We didn't feel it because they all grew corn in their backyard. They all had a garden. They were all trading shit down at the square, right? Like they weren't affected by the fact that HEB's trucks may not roll.
That's today. I'm talking about you told me they didn't know that there was a depression because they were just already so poor.
They didn't know any difference. My granddad was probably considered rich because they had a ton of land in Maypearl, but they didn't have anything else. Just because they had a shit ton of land, and my granddad's dad had like 11 kids, so they could all work it. They probably were rich to people because they had food, right? I mean, that's a different kind of entitlement problem than we have right now, right? Like,
and that's what I'm saying. Like we're out here, and you know, we're in a adverse market where coal plants have shut down. Natural gas is in the shitter. Like everything has kind of already been attacked. All the jobs already left. They left 2013, 2014. Like we already took it on the chin. So a global worldwide recession that is taking toilet paper off the shelves and hand sanitizer and all these extra things, right? It's like, well, the truck's still showing up here every day to our Brookshires and unloading the goods and services into it. And people aren't freaking out and acting like it's not going to be there tomorrow. So if it's not there tomorrow, if we all of a sudden can't get a can of beans, we'll all go down to the pond, catch us fish, and eat on that for a while. Nobody.
Go ahead, man.
Well, I mean, nobody's sitting here freaking out, but the person that you know, and I don't want to say attack because I'm not a little fucking snowflake, but the person that constantly challenges everything that I post in Roughneck Real Estate when it comes to lending or any of this stuff. You said it first, Spoon. You were the first person to point out that Roughneck Real Estate serves an underserved community.
Absolutely. It's no different than Max Maxwell's group. It's just a different community. Right.
So you said it's an underserved community of roughnecks, welders, rednecks, all investors, an underserved community of people who live in this every single day that people in the city look down their nose at like, oh, no opportunity there. You know what I mean? And so when that happens, you know, it's like, look, if I've got somebody that wants to let me, Corey Thompson, go out and underwrite loans, right?
Right.
Go to loan to somebody like Witherspoon who wants to own a rental in Maypearl, Texas, right? They won't even do Granbury. This lender won't even do Granbury.
I know, because I've tried to get money.
Exactly.
But so, they passed me off to the person we use for those now, which will be us soon.
Correct. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if I can serve that community, how in the fuck does that affect your bushy ash and what you got going on?
Well, I didn't read that the same way you did.
I read it. No. I've been reading into it for months, and maybe this is just like a pimple popping. I don't really care. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like if you're slinging arrows, acting like we're not going to be able to do it. I got the math right behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Here's how it looks on fucking paper. Okay.
All right. Hold on.
Loans. Do what?
Posed by that. I'm going to take a picture of it.
Oh, my bad. Let me get out the way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you just got a big head, bro. There you go. All right. Now I can TikTok that later.
So if I've got the math behind me, I'm not shooting from the hip. This is how the numbers work. This is what it looks like. Okay. Just broke it down starting at, I think it was an hour, 19 minutes into this 2 hours rambling. This is what it looks like. If I underwrite every deal like this, okay, we got an economic collapse in our backyard and the global pandemic fucking chewing away at resources. We've got an underserved community of we don't have enough hospital beds here in Groesbeck to handle it when it gets here. We don't have enough hospital beds in Comanche. We don't have enough hospital beds in Coleman. We don't have anything, but we do have resources, an abundance of things. Like, I guess right now, the way to look at it is an abundance of toilet paper. You know what I mean? An abundance of resilient people that know how to cook and clean up and hunt and fish. And we ain't fucking worried about it like y'all are, right?
Yeah.
There is no real panic here. But not because we don't think coronavirus is going to kill us, but because coronavirus can kill us. But I can still go to my backyard and catch fucking fish. Like, I got a pond in my fucking backyard.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you. Like I said, Saturday I'm gonna be snagging channel cats out of the pond.
It's like, what? I'm not going to run out of food. I'm not going to run out of fire. I'm not going to run out of water. I'm not going to run out of all these things.
But you got
relying on a grocery store to provide them for me.
Most people don't understand. Most people that have never lived in real adverse conditions, even unexpectedly, have no concept of how to function without air conditioning. They don't have a function of how I mean, you and me both grew up in places with window units. Most people didn't.
I didn't have air conditioner.
Like
the house I lived in from, because we moved around a lot. The house I lived in, I can take you to the exact plot of land right now. The house I lived in from my granddad died when I was in the 5th grade. And I got suspended from school when I was in the 2nd grade. And I was at that house for both of those events.
That's funny, man.
Hold on now. My granddad died when I was in 4th grade. So from 2nd grade to 4th grade, I lived in a house with no air conditioner. We bought a double wide with the money that my granddad left my dad. My granddad left my dad $25,000. My dad bought a piece of land and a double wide, okay, and it had air conditioning. It was like the most life-changing thing
right.
my entire life. First time in my life we had air conditioning inside a house. I was 11 years old when that happened. Okay. So at 11 years old, we had air conditioning for the very first time in my life. None of our vehicles had air conditioning. We just rolled down the windows, single cab trucks.
So my dad, even when he had one that had it, he wouldn't let us use it because he's like, you're not going to want to get out of the truck to work.
That's exactly the exact same thing. The exact same thing. Like we would never have it when we were hauling hay and stuff like that. We never had air conditioning running in the truck because he would say you wouldn't want to get out and work once you got to where you were going. Never used air conditioning. So vehicles, we didn't even get to use air conditioning if we had it. The house though, it's a funny story and sound redneck and white trash as fuck, but you know, the AC vents under a double wide are I don't know what they're made of, but it's like some sort of it's insulation essentially, but it's got this like gold foil around the outside of it. And what do you think the dogs did once they dug underneath the trailer?
They tore up all the insulation.
They tore a hole in that, and they're like, "Oh, this is got a great vein of cold air coming out of this." And so we didn't have air conditioning very long after we moved in that house because our dogs destroyed it, and so that was it. No more AC. So we just had to go back outside and play. So we spent a majority of our days squirrel hunting and fishing and you know what I mean, fucking off. So
I have literally gotten beaten with a stick because I wanted to stay in the house in the air conditioning. My grandma made me go to the pond, cut a switch. I didn't bring a big enough one back. She made me go back a couple times till I got one that she beat the shit out of me with because I wasn't allowed to stay inside in the air conditioning. I needed to be outside playing, right? Like that was a luxury. like I couldn't be inside soaking that shit up. I was the same as you. You talking about squirrel hunting. I just went and got a 22 out and did whatever. I'd walk around. We luckily had like 300 acres. So I'd just walk around that shit all day. Like, it's amazing how much a kid can figure out to do on 300 acres poking at ant mounds, right? Like,
no, dude, same way. Didn't have my own 300 acres, but I had somebody else's. I don't know whose it was, but
right.
You know what I mean? Like, they didn't mind I was there. And so we had dirt bikes and we just lived a different life. So this person that will not cut a loan to us, never has, gave all the opportunity in the world, tagged them in a million posts to make loans, have never done anything to them but support them at all, right?
Right.
Has suddenly, and I say this in the most kindest way possible, not developed a beef because it ain't even drama like that, but I feel like has been secretly rooting for us to fail, for us to look stupid and everything else for whatever that time period is. And whatever it is that led them to believe that was going to be our destiny, obviously doesn't know what's behind us. Like the people that are behind us, I'm not talking about capital. I'm not talking about anything. I'm talking about the actual people that are behind us, the actual people that helped us build this thing, the actual people that have their entire retirements depending on these rentals working. I mean, we've got.
Let me ask you
so blessed.
If Shane's dad called you right now, said, "I need all hands on deck, man. My whole crew's down. We got to move. We got to move 3,000 head today.
Got to move them."
What would you do?
We're going over there and moving cattle. We've done it.
You would call me. You call Nemi. You call everybody you needed to make that happen, right?
Oh yeah.
That's the way we react out here. My wife, when we first moved here, I haven't talked to Mr. Livingston's wife in years. Vic was a guy that was he was one of my granddad's friends. He passed on, God bless him. I'm driving down the road. His bull's walking out in the street and all the cows are following. So I got out. I pushed the cows back in. Me and this big old Santa Gertrude just had a standoff in the middle of the road. All I had was a baseball cap. And he did what I wanted. And I put him back in and locked the gate. And my wife said, "Why'd you do that?" Like, I said, "Because that's what people do out here. Like, I don't need no props. I don't need a high five from nobody. I know I wouldn't want to come home and my cows are in the road." Like, this is, it's no different than my granddad and his friends started the local volunteer fire department. I can't tell you how many hundreds of fires I've been to as a kid. Literally, my granddad picked me up from school and I'm sitting in the passenger seat of a fire truck while they're taking care of our neighbors, right? Maybe not hundreds. It's probably more like 10 or 20. I'm being silly, but that's just how people are out here. They don't, that's probably not too much, man. All that ducking, 600, 1,000. I don't know.
I just typed. Check it out.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So like I literally like I try to explain this to people all the time. So I still read that deal different than you do. I think you ought to have a phone call, but that's beyond that. People don't understand. Like right now, my crazy ass neighbor was supposed to go to Mexico today. I love that dude. He's a bigger redneck than me. Motherfucker was shooting a crossbow off the hood of his Ford truck the other day in the front yard. That shit cracks me up. Like, it's amazing to me that in the middle of town, this dude's out there with a crossbow racked out, just dropping bolts. But if he called me tomorrow and was like, dude, I need you to break into my house because like we left the stove on. That's what we're gonna do, right? Like you're not. I don't know. I think it's just a different mentality. Is all I'm getting at. Corey called me this morning and said, hey, dude, if you need groceries, and you can't get them up there, call me. I'll pick them all up for you. I'll meet you. I immediately called my sister and my parents and told them, like, hey, we don't got to get crazy. Corey said he's got our back, and I know you would do that for us. We'll all put an order together. Corey will pick it up. I'll meet him in Waco. We'll air high five. He's going to set it in the middle of a parking lot. I'll go over and pick it up, put it in the back of the car, and we're going to go on about our business. But that's the mentality of folks here. I promise you, like, I don't know Shane. I met Sherry one time, but I know Shane well enough that if he called me, he's like, I need help right now, I'm going to go, right?
I've been calling them all week. I've been like, hey. You know what I mean? Like, and the reason why is because I want everybody to know, like, you know, when I feel like somebody is taking a pot shot or whatever, you know, I'm sitting here right now with my lawsuit next to me. You know what I mean? When I feel like somebody's taking a pot shot or hoping for somebody else to fail, right? So, you know, it would be easy for me to go look at some other strategy that I don't think somebody should be relying upon. You know what I mean? A singular strategy in real estate and go, aha, I told you so. I told you so. I told you so. You know what I mean? But it's too late. You know what I mean? Like it's too late to back off of that. So what I would rather do is look at it and look at their situation and say, you know, could you say this? Could you do this with it in the short term? Hell, I just talked to Blake Bowman and Blake joined our year-long mastermind. Told Blake before he joined the year-long mastermind, he had this deal. And, you know, I was like, here's what I would do with it. That's what I would do with it. So he got a cash offer on it, front and center. He didn't take the cash offer.
No, he
rehab it.
Big shot.
Do what?
He wanted that big paycheck that something never appeared.
But it's not even like I can't even. My heart hurts for him. Okay.
Oh, man.
So he didn't take that payday. As soon as he told me that, I was late finding out, and he wasn't in the mastermind yet. But it didn't matter. I was like, call that person back, take that. But he had this thing, and we all have this thing. And I can't knock Blake because if I didn't have that thing, I wouldn't be me, right? So Blake has that thing where he's like, I think I can make more money. I think if I put this into it, I'm going to sell it for $115. Numbers make sense. He got into the rehab, didn't understand how to rehab, did some things he shouldn't have done, got all of his draws out. So he bought it for 40, I think. Drew out 20 against it or 18 against it. So he's now at $18,000 worth of progress. And he thought that was going to be it. Thought he was going to be done with the project, and he wasn't done with the project. And he couldn't get more capital. So he got a credit card, started doing the work himself and buying the materials on the credit card. And it just kind of snowballs on him, right? So when it snowballs on him, he's now there and he terms out on his hard money loan. So now the lenders come into him and say, hey, you've got to refinance this loan. You got to pay me points and all this. And he's still not done with the project. The distraction, the time it's going to take him to complete it. And now he has a clear vision that the money that I'm still, now I know how many dollars it's going to take to get it done, and I'm going to be underwater on it. So I've got to sell it as is. He sells it. He lists it as is, right? When he lists this thing as is, he doesn't get, you know, buyers aren't coming because we're in this big headwind. And since we're in this big headwind, He gets an owner finance buyer that comes forward like 8,000 down. He's got a private money guy that will take out the hard money loan for the 58, but he's already got his own money in it, and he's going to have to walk and take a $10,000 bath on this deal. Now, when he was telling me this, I still thought in my head that he only owed 40 against it. I didn't know he had took all of his draws out on his hard money loan. So I'm like, dude, don't take like that private money guy. You know, he's making you take a bath. He should let you take the down payment because it's a good deal for him if you're selling it for X number of dollars. I think it's like 90,000 or something he's selling it for.
Right.
But whatever it is, I was like, he should let you walk with something. See if he'll let you keep down payment. He goes, nah, I owe 60 on it. I'm like, oh shit. That's the deal of a lifetime. He's like, what? And I'm like, taking a $10,000 bath on that is like, you got the hookup. That dude that's buying you out of that situation must really like you. You need that dude in your corner. You're paying for a $10,000 education, but you needed to. That money's tuition. It's not a loss. That's tuition. Now, I could be sitting back. In a situation where I'm hoping that other people. What's up?
No, go ahead, sir.
What are you working on?
I'm not working on nothing.
Yes, sir. You owe us something?
No, sir. Take that and take you and your wife out for a pizza or whatever.
Okay.
I'm the guy you give the baby seat to.
Oh, okay. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
No problem.
I
Thank you,
show my
sir.
appreciation for it.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
$20. That's huh? Oh. I got it. No, check it out. Check it out. So there was a wreck out here the other day in front of the office.
Yeah.
There was a wreck and there was a kid. I mean, it happened right here. I mean, we heard it. We all ran outside to help.
Oh, that
And that's kind of crazy that happened on film. But and I take the guy's money because I'm like that. But anyways, this wreck happened out here, and granddad with his grandson in the car. Basically, I don't know what happened, but somebody stopped, didn't see that traffic was stopped, tried to stop. Somebody else behind them hit them, and this guy was in the very back and hit them. And he had his grandson in the car. And so the granddad gets out and he's like bleeding crazy bad from his hand. The grandson was in a car seat sitting behind him and ended up with like a bloody face and a bloody nose. But when we ran out, we all ran out of the office. And of course, we're trying to, see what's going on, divert traffic. And we noticed there's this kid in the car. So Whitley, being the mom that she is, takes this kid out of the car and is holding a kid that's bleeding out the mouth. And so now we're pot committed because we're in the middle of this wreck. We're trying to see if the granddad needs medical attention or whatever's going on. Police show up. Everything's going back and forth. They're got the granddad sitting to the side because he's injured. He's got something wrong with his chest. His hand's bleeding. The little boy, though, he's fine. We're just got to clean the blood off his face where he busted his face and busted his lip. And but he's fine. You know what I mean? Like, he's fine. So we're dealing with that. And when the fire department came up, they said, hey, there was somebody there to get the child. And they're like, this child can't leave because the car seat's been empty. Yeah, in that car seat. So I was like, well, I got a car seat in my car. My kid's bigger than a car seat. I've got an extra one. I'll just give it to you. So I gave it to him. And that gentleman just came up to give me $20 to take my wife to eat or kid to eat. And anyways, that's a pretty cool moment. But I never expected any sort of return for that at all. I just had a car seat. But being as how we're in tough economic times, that $20 go a long ways. That's at least one round of toilet paper.
And here's what you don't know, and this is why that's such an amazing gift, is you don't know what that guy has to give. You don't know how much of an impact.
No, he definitely I mean, they're yes.
You know what I'm saying.
No, I get it.
Those kind of gifts that come from the heart with those kind of folks is the biggest gift you can get.
But I was looking at him. I was like, I know this guy, but I thought he was our AC guy. I thought he was here to work on the AC, but he was just here because he seen my cars out there. And he obviously I gave him the car seat out of my car. So I don't remember what we were talking about, but I've got we've been going for 2.5 hours, Spoon.
Yeah, I got to go look at papers.
People are rooting for other people to fail during this. I'm not rooting for anybody. I'm trying to help anybody that's got a problem or a situation that they're worried about or concerned about or want any more information about. I'm trying to get that information and disseminate it to the public in the most effective way possible. If there's somebody out there that has so much fucking hate for Corey Thompson or Roughneck Real Estate that they're hoping this is what fucking breaks us, I got news for you. You don't know who the fuck's behind us. You don't know the people that are relying on us to be successful, and you don't know the depths of what we'll go through to persevere through this. We have a $900,000 loan that is set to go through in 7 days, okay? We called to check on that motherfucker yesterday, and they are still in it. They're still in it to win it. And you know what they do for a living, Spoon? They're fucking farmers. You get what I'm saying? You don't understand the people that we represent. You don't understand how resilient they are, and you don't understand this dynamic, and you don't need to fucking understand it. You know what you need to do? You need to, if you're trying to figure it out, if you're wanting to poke holes in it, if you're wanting to do that, get on this fucking camera right here. Get your fucking whiteboard out right there. And come on here and let's fucking talk about it. Let's run the numbers on it. Let's underwrite it. If you are wanting us to fail, if you're hoping this is what wipes us the fuck out, let's run some fucking numbers.
Yeah.
Well,
I get what you're saying. I'm not in the same place as you are on that. I think it'd be worth the phone call. I think maybe you're misreading that, but that's my opinion, and I don't live your life.
Spoon, I am not misreading it. You always tell me I've got a gift for reading things.
Oh, that's true, and maybe I'm not reading it right.
If I am misreading this, you know, I ate dinner or lunch with somebody the other day, and there's somebody that me and you both know and both trust a lot, and he told me some of the things that people said about me, and
yeah, but I tell you those same things too. I'm assuming I know who that is.
Yes, but these are direct conversations that people were involved in, and it was directly around our rural investment strategy and model that people were shitting on, right? And they don't have to understand it, and I get it. They don't have to whatever, but it's all based on rentals. It's all based on owner finance, and it's all based on the numbers, okay? Attack the fundamentals, okay? Attack the fundamentals. Attack the demographics. Attack. Go pull the county census data from 2000 to 2020 and tell me that there's going to be less people there.
Well, let me ask you something. What's the name of the feed store in Groesbeck?
There's a bunch of them.
Okay, pick one of them.
Okay, Groesbeck.
Yeah.
Feed Farm and Ranch.
Okay, Groesbeck Farm and Ranch.
S&S Ag Supply.
Okay, SMS.
S&S.
S&S Ag Supply. Here's what I know about small towns. That dude that's loading feed down there, 50 pounds at a time, by the sack, his pay didn't change today. His pay did not change. What is going to change is a lot of people with college degrees, because I've been one of those before. I've been the ones that got shook out. A lot of old boys in the oil field are going to get shook up today. But the people in our rental class are largely, for the most part, not going to be affected their day-to-day earnings, because they are a by-the-month person and they need a clean, safe place to live. They know exactly what they're making, exactly what they can spend at the Dollar General, and it's the exact same for them every month. Like, I always think about the dude that loaded feed for my granddad that was still loading feed when they shut it down. That dude would walk to his house every day, and God bless him, he's a sweet old gentleman. He's still big old dude, still loading feed. I promise you, his pay hadn't changed more than a few dollars in 10 years.
Well, and that's
he's living in his means.
Well, the thing, like, you can attack it with numbers. You can attack it with hard numbers. Like, there are 14,000 people that live in Comanche County. Why in the fuck would you buy in a place where there's 14,000 people?
Well, Comanche, I get. I think the better.
No. I don't have to convince you to get it, Spoon.
Oh, okay.
What I'm telling you is, If you're going to attack the model, attack the fucking model, right? Attack it on numbers, attack it on basis, attack it on anything that you want to attack it on in that manner. If you just Corey Thompson, if you just want to attack the money, if you just want to attack the ROI or the risk associated with the ROI based on no numbers, no nothing, just on your vitriol for Corey Thompson being noisy on the internet. Do what?
I like that. That's a big word.
Right. Being noisy on the internet, then come at me. Let's get your whiteboard. Here it is, and let's go. Run numbers. Let's underwrite some deals. Let's underwrite your best deal in your bushy ass town that you just loaned on, and how you feel about that loan now. Let's talk about that $400,000 loan you made 3 weeks ago to somebody that now might not be able to sell that property. Let's talk about if you take that property back right now in today's environment, what year do you think it's going to take you before you can recoup them costs? And how are you going to hold that thing in between now and then? Let's go dollar for dollar, number for number, deal for deal, and let's fucking talk about it. But if you don't want to, then you better just shut the fuck up.
Do you think? All right, so mowing's probably not a great deal. Do you think the guy there's probably 2 or 3 plumbers in Groesbeck? There's probably not a ton. You probably got a bunch of
one plumber in Groesbeck.
One plumber.
We got a plumbing shortage in Groesbeck. If somebody's got a plumbing company, you want to make some money, come on out.
Do you think his workload is going to change over this recession? He's still got to clean shit.
He wants to buy some real estate from us right now. Robin just won't decide if she wants him to buy it or not. She can't decide.
Be one of those houses over on that side road.
He wants to buy the house on the side road and the acreage that goes down the side road. And he's probably got the $130,000 cash that it would take to get that deal done, which would severely help us out from a deleverage point of view. And I think that we need to go back to him right now and say, hey, do you still want to pay that? And make that business decision, not based on what we think he might put down the road. Because I promise you, he thinks we're going to put mobile homes and we're not. And that's why he's offering the money that he's offering. He's offering that money so he could make sure there's no mobile homes and maybe have a couple of goats out there to eat the grass. He's not going to trash the place up.
Tell him you'll put deed restrictions on your piece to not put mobiles on it.
Yeah, well, no, if he wants to pay money for it, let's pay.
Either way, you get my point. Like my dad works in the oil field right now as an electrician. Now he's on the service side, so he's in a different boat than all the boys out slamming lag skids and doing other stuff. My cousin does all the programming for lag skids and stuff like that. He can do that from his couch. He's probably going to be okay. But certain in these small towns, when you reach a certain level of small town, it's hard to affect the day-to-day life in that town because it just goes on. It doesn't. I mean, Jesus comes back tomorrow. Some shit's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of people dealing with that. But unless that happens, that small town is just going to chooch on through because it doesn't. There's nothing you can do.
There's certain small towns that are. There's certain risk associated with small towns that person could really go after and they would have something, but they're not well versed enough in it to know. They think about it from this lens of, I only make this loan amount. I only loan in this area. I only do this thing. So these are their goggles. This is how they see the world. Right. And I see it a little bit differently because I think making a $300,000 loan right now on any property that's in a $300,000 price range, I think anybody making that loan is taking a huge risk if it's a single family home, right? And I might be completely wrong. I might completely fuck it up. I might really throw some fear in the market that doesn't need to be there and all that kind of stuff. But you guess what? I've thought that since 2015. So to me, the numbers don't make sense because what happens if you do have to rent it or own or finance it? How does that numbers look? They don't make sense. They don't make, you know what I mean? So I'm not there. There are people that live in areas that 300,000 is the cheapest house on the block. So they're laughing at me, right? Our experiences are different in lettuce here, but you know, if we want to talk strategies and we want to talk about it and we want to get into it, let's run the numbers. Let's underwrite the deals. Let's talk about it from the adult chairs, and let's go as savagely at our throats as we can with each other, not personally, not over strategies, not over anything. Let's go over the numbers. And that any fucking guru, any wannabe guru, anybody that wants it,
Corey wants to argue.
we're gonna be all quarantined for 2 weeks. Hopefully we still got internet. If we got internet, there's nothing better to do than to argue with a fucking Sharpie or a fucking dry erase marker and bust these dudes down. Like, so anyways.
I can tell you this. My TikTok is already fire. My TikTok is the tits. It's amazing. But it's only going to get better over the next couple of weeks, especially with my meme generation that I was doing yesterday. So, you know, there's going to be plenty of opportunity for you to make content while they're figuring out life for the next couple of weeks.
Well, it's just going to be good because this office is going to be empty. So I'll be able to sit up here. Like, I've been wanting to do this video where I break down a 6-cap investment. I just ran the numbers the other day because somebody asked me about it in the apartment mastermind group. And so I ran the numbers on a 6-cap investment, and I had this like mind blowing, like, holy shit, those numbers are so easy to know off the sleeve, like off the cuff. It's like, it's mind numbing how silly that investment is from top to bottom. Mind numbing. But because I don't understand it doesn't mean that it's silly, right? It just means it's silly for me. Doesn't mean that it's silly overall. It just means it's silly for me. But in this down, like this free fall, right? Those investments are like, ooh, let's stress test it. Let's take it into a stress test right now. Let's go vacancies. Let's take it down to 70% vacant. See how it looks at 70% vacant. Let's do it right now. So I've been wanting to do that video ever since this started, but I hadn't been able to because everybody's here. And I haven't stress tested it at all. So when I stress test it, I'm going to be stress testing it with this marker in my hand right in front of y'all going, oh, well, maybe this investment is a good investment or maybe it's a bad investment. I don't know. But if I break it down 7 ways from Sunday with a marker, I'll challenge anybody with a fucking YouTube channel to go stress test a 6-cap right now. Do it. Get out of the way.
There's like a 100-unit one up here being sold at 6.67 right now.
I ain't worried about it.
No, I was going to say I might send it to you so you can help break it down because it's a crazy weird deal.
Breaking it down is easy. Stress testing it is different than breaking it down. Breaking it down, the numbers are so simple. They're so off the cuff, right? I can sit here and tell you right now, every $1 million worth of purchase, on a 6-cap represents $1,000 a month free and clear cash flow. That's what listen to me. Listen to that number in your head right now. I buy for $75 million. I bought for $75 million. Bought. That's not where I'm leveraged at. That's what I bought for. A 6-cap investment pays you after debt service, everything, free and clear cash flow, $1,000 a month. I mean, not $1,000 a month, $75,000 a month. Does that seem good?
It seems great.
Does it? Let's stress test it.
I said it seems great.
But now there is a caveat with the expenses because expenses could be lower. So, you know, where we see about a 40-45 expense ratio in our asset class of $600 to $800 a month rent, they may see a 30 to 35 expense ratio, right? So they got that little extra 10% cash flow, and it moves up tremendously on there. So when I stress test it, I'm gonna show expense ratios. I'm basically gonna build a graph and like fill it in. And like I said, anybody, any of these fucking flip gurus, any wholesale guru, anybody, let's whiteboard. Let's go right now. We got 2 weeks. Let's do it. See what we can do. But anyways, I've got Nathan Slapper coming up right
Are
now.
you,
Literally,
you gonna bring Slapper on?
I mean, I'm gonna bust this channel down. Like, I mean, you got stuff to do. I don't care. Nathan agreed to do this in 30 minutes at 11:59, and it's about to be 12.
I want to hear Nathan. Nathan's amazing. That dude's brilliant.
So, do you want to be on that stream too? Because I'm gonna break them up. We've been going for 2.5 hours, Spoon.
No, it doesn't matter. You can drop me off. I got shit to do too. I just want to listen. Is all I was getting at. I was asking, are you gonna talk to Nathan now?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna talk to Nathan in 2 minutes.
Okay, sounds great.
All right, later.